This version of It's Erik Nagel has been modified from its original broadcast. Content has been edited to fit this platform.
A message for the ladies and gentlemen around the world and all the ships at sea.
We all make choices, but in the end, our choices make us.
So choose wisely. Subscribe to It's Erik Nagel wherever shows are found, on whatever platform you choose. And as always, leave us a positive review. Would you kindly?
Oh, yeah. Giddles is here and you're in the middle, which is usually I see Giddles in the middle.
Giddles in the middle.
Giddles in the middle.
That show got canceled.
Kellogg's Raisin Squares.
What? Were you getting square raisins, Eric?
That used to be an old cereal. It would say raisins in the middle, Kellogg's Raisin Squares.
I did not remember that. I'm gonna look this up.
Look it up. And then face.
I mean, I believe you.
Of all the things to lie over an old breakfast cereal. Couldn't trust him, man. Like, he just lied about the dumbest shit.
Yeah, like, I know things you won't lie about. Oh, so it looks like a frosted mini wheat with raisins in the middle. Okay.
Yeah.
I was trying to picture it. That's why I couldn't. I was like, how do they place one thing in the middle of each Cheerio type thing? I was like, that sounds ridiculous. I'm picturing someone in a factory, like...
Yeah, they're wedging odd-shaped raisins into the Cheerio.
Cramming them in there. Yeah, like... This makes a lot more sense.
Wait a minute. Explain your job to me again. What? All right, one more time.
I cram raisins into cereal holes.
He's very popular at parties. They're like, Bill, you gotta come over here. You gotta hear what this guy does for a living.
Yeah, he just crams raisins. He's a raisin crammer.
It's Erik Nagel. And it starts now.
Ladies and gentlemen of the universe, the next voice you hear.
Erik Nagel.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of It's Erik Nagel. That is myself. Across the table there, that would be Giddles.
I'm across the table now?
And then there is Zia.
Am I across the table or across the country?
You're across the country at a different table.
That's
at another table.
Yes.
That's a very big table.
It is a big
like
table.
No seats on the side, just like end table to end table.
Yes, it's like one of those really pompous rich people tables they have in an elongated room where they were on each end having breakfast.
Yeah.
And servants would have to communicate notes to each other.
Yeah, you have to like call them, like text someone for the salt. Say, hey, can I get the salt? And then it's on like a Jamiroquai conveyor belt. You just put it on and you have to wait 18 hours for it to get to California. You know, great.
Exactly. Phone lines are open. 651-SMITHERS is the phone number if you want to call and be in touch with the program. 651-764-8437. It's Erik Nagel across the board on the social media for the show. Like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on YouTube, and hey, you're listening to us, you obviously enjoy it. Tell two friends so they can tell two friends, etc., etc. Thank you. Hi, everyone. How have you been? It's been a while since we all talked. What's going on? Fill me in on your lives.
Is that us?
Yes.
Are you talking to us?
Yeah,
I'm talking to you two at the other end of the table. I'm waiting for the telegraph to get down there.
It's a long table.
You know how great hold on. You know how great it would be? It's like, you know when they use Skype for news reporters that are around the world? So they're set up and they go, we go to John in Israel. John? Thanks, Karen. Well, that's how we need to do that. We have to do like a 10-second beat.
because they're in Israel.
Right.
And look, I mean, I'm in California, so I feel like that's not quite as far, but it's still pretty far.
No, I just think we should do it to annoy everybody. Like, this show is taking forever. They spoke pretty much 6 paragraphs in a half an hour time of doing that show.
But it's as long as the thing is, she always has to start with like, yes, that's right, Eric. Like, you know, as if she's just like tuning in, just catching up.
I agree with you, Giddles. Yes. Anyway, so Zia, what were you saying?
Oh, I was just saying I was just applying for a job, and it's my first ever podcast job I've applied to. So fingers crossed.
Nice. Good luck.
Thank you. I've only ever. This is like literally I read it and I was like, I want to do this so bad. So stupid.
Hopefully, it's a paying job, and it's not like, oh, you can earn experience.
No, that's why I applied, because it's a paying job.
Okay.
Been earning experience in radio for a while now.
Get the fuck out of here. I've been working for free for a long time. I'm good. Oy.
Yeah, all this experience is It's like adding up like XP in a video game. Like it's great, but it's not getting me anywhere.
Well, and that's the thing too. There was this meme that like I always quote this meme because it makes me laugh. It's so funny. It was a picture of a person being like, yeah, well this gig doesn't pay, but it's great for exposure. And then the person answers like, that's great because my rent is exactly 800 exposures.
Yeah.
Like
that's also, companies do that for what used to be just for internships. They would say, oh, it's great exposure. You get here, you get college credit, whatever, to get your foot in the door. It's essentially what it is it's grooming an employee. It's like coming in and it's like, let's try you out. Let's have you learn how we do everything here. And if it works out, this will be a person that we hire, right? So you have that. But then it's moved up the ladder to higher scale things. It's like, you have a great show. Let's try you on the air for a few weeks. And, you can get experience out of it. And then if maybe it works, no, that's not happening. And now it's moved into the social media influencers, quote unquote, for those kind of people. It's like, I need a video crew. Anybody does makeup while I'm in Houston. It'll be great. I can trade you. You'll get great exposure by being promoted on my channel or on my feed. It's like, you just want everyone
traffic.
Yeah, you just want everybody to do their shit for free because you don't want to pay for it. Just say what it is. Exposure doesn't mean anything. It's like, oh, you'll get 10,000 likes on this video. That means nothing. Talk to me when it's like 6 million likes and I can actually make some money off of it. Otherwise,
yeah, exactly.
Do your own makeup, idiot.
Yep.
And then their next Instagram story, it's like, hey guys, I'm selling this brush or these makeup brushes, or I'm selling essential oils, or I'm selling these custom shoes. This is my boy, whatever. You swipe up here and use my code, you'll get 10%. Wait, you just asked all these people to do this shit for free, and now you're hawking this other person's stuff.
That's how it works, man. It's a hustle.
I don't want to do that.
It's a hustle because it's fake.
It's all fake. I can't wait for the YouTube generation platform to collapse. Like radio did, like TV is going through right now, just for them to see that this delusion that they all feel that if they're an influencer that they deserve to be making millions of dollars and they deserve to be celebrities and famous. And when this is all starting to whittle away, like I'll tell you about this, with the problems with YouTube in the last week, some of the changes that they made that has been freaking people out, that when this thing sort of crashes and they're not making that money anymore, it'll be like that story. Remember that story we talked about the lady in Los Angeles who drove up to San Francisco to go to Instagram's offices because she demanded they wouldn't verify her? And she went up there and made a big stink at their office to get verified. And then they said, okay, well, we're going to work on it. She leaves, drives back down to Los Angeles. And by the time she got back to LA, they deleted her account. They shut everything she had down. And she went online screaming and crying in this video saying, I can't go back to McDonald's. I can't go back to this place. She goes, I have no skills. I don't know. I can't do anything else in life. I moved to LA to be it was either Facebook or Instagram professionally, and I can't do that. And like, she's having a mental breakdown. I said, this is what's going to happen to people, these YouTube people, especially because some of them I'm hoping are saving their money, like that kid there's this one little kid, I think he's like 7-8 years old, makes the most out on money that you can make on YouTube, and all it is his parents unbox toys and stuff with him. Like, all these major companies send this kid stuff, and he unboxes, he plays with it, he talks about his experience with it. I'm sure if they're good parents, they're putting all that money that he makes away because that sets them up for life, that sets him up for life, that sets him for college, what have you. But when you're talking about the 20s to 30 range of the influencers, when they're going out to, it's like, oh, I got front row passes at Coachella, I got these skybox things for all this stuff, that these concerts they're going to these private parties. They're renting all these fancy cars. They're pissing through their money thinking that it's going to continually generate content and then generate more money for them. And when this collapses, you're going to see a lot of impoverished YouTube and influencers, which I'm not saying is, oh, look, it's going to be funny when they cry and they say they have no skills. But hopefully they're smart enough to put that money away.
Yeah, I'm sure like there's some people who are smart enough who have really marketed off it, who know what they're doing, but I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people who just I mean, if like Instagram went out tomorrow, like half of them wouldn't even know what to do. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, I made a point about YouTube changing. So some stuff happened towards the end of last week. YouTube made an update to its beta studio for YouTube.
Is it beta now?
well, it's been in beta for like 2 years or something. When you go to upload, it says, do you want to use the classic or do you want to use YouTube beta? Because they keep trying to get everybody to go over there, but I guess people aren't fully accepting that. So they made this new change. Apparently some law came down where now they have to justify and specify their programs as being either programmed for kids or not for kids. So no matter what you're uploading, you can't complete the process without filling out this disclaimer saying, yes, this is programming targeted towards kids or not targeted towards kids.
Yep.
Now, this is a law. They have the little banners on the top of the YouTube page. When you log in, you can click it. You can read all the details. Now, you would think that because law exists, that if you are making children's programming, right, specifically targeted for kids, that if you click that, this would sort of secure your financial aspirations, secure the money coming in. It's like, I'm doing only kids. This is putting my channel and my programming out in different search engines for like the YouTube Only Kids app or the YouTube Kids searches. So this would guarantee more money and what have you. It's the exact opposite, which is weird because you would think more money for the kids programming than doing the adult content stuff that everybody else does. Now, this thing is that if you have the kids there, it's restricting your reach. You're not being found in general searches unless you're targeting specific kid stuff. So it's sort of kind of shadow banning you from certain things, I guess. And it's actually affecting people that are just generating and like quality kids programming on YouTube. It's affecting these people who are making an honest effort to make this kind of programming. Then back that up a little bit, there was problems where they were changing the ad structure, and when you upload a video, now it has to go through an actual review to see if they can actually air some of their ads in the pre-roll or the placements that you set. If you have a long video, like every 10 minutes or something, an ad will pop up there.
Yeah.
So now you can put up your content. You could be talking like some of these YouTubers, they're doing makeup tutorials, or they're telling us, bad breakups with an ex or something a little raunchy. And it'll say your thing is limited. And if you do a review and they come back and they go, yeah, this content doesn't really qualify for most of our partnerships here, so your ads are going to be limited. So now it's not just anything showing up on your channel anymore. And those people who are doing YouTube professionally for a living, where they're putting out multiple vlogs or produce pieces and stuff, they're now getting less money. So YouTube is finding a way to kind of cut corners and screw everybody in every different aspect of what you're putting out there on YouTube, unless you're a major company or a news organization, which those ads seem to be fine. But if you do a news piece where you discuss the debates, or you discuss some kind of hearing or whatever, then all of a sudden, oh, you're too controversial. No matter which side you're on, you're too controversial, and we have to limit the ads on you. But if NBC put up the thing up there, that's perfectly fine.
But like, how do they limit the ads? Like, they watch the video and then they say, well, we can't show this ad on there. Like, I don't understand what you're saying. Do they limit the amount of ads, the number of ads, the quality
it limits.
It's like, I would notice, like, the last couple of weeks, videos I've been watching have had way more ads than usual.
I think it limits, like, so you can have a general pool of thousands of advertisers, right, that are paying for ads to put across the platform for everything. And it goes based on your title, it goes based on your description, it goes based on the tags that you put in there that the public can't see, but the algorithm for YouTube can see. It goes through that stuff first, and if it sees anything that's some kind of buzzword or flashpoint that triggers their thing, you're limited. Now, when you see that your thing is limited, you can hit request a human review. So that means somebody has to go and it sends a ticket. They have to go and skim through your thing and see if it's did the automated system correctly identify you as being a bit controversial, or that not all our partners can be advertised on your thing, or what have you. Or sometimes it could be worse when you get the human review and you were still limited. Now they say, oh, absolutely not. Because of this content, you can't have any of these things on there. We're not copyright strike on you. We're not telling you to take it down. You just don't qualify to be monetized on these videos.
That sucks.
Yeah.
So, but question.
Yeah.
are they doing this like on purpose to hurt the ad revenue stream, or is this being done more as a protection from a company that wants to advertise on something, and then someone in their video says, let's kill all the Jews, and now White Castle is, on that video as a sponsored ad? You know what I mean? Like, so who is this really targeting? Is this targeting as a protection to the companies because they don't want to be associated with content that might not fit their guidelines, or is this being done as a punishment to people to like not have ads on their page? It seems to me like it's more like protecting companies because they don't want to have their ads on videos that people might be saying controversial shit and they don't want to be linked to it.
I think that's right. I think that might be, I'd have to do a deeper dive.
I mean, that's the only thing that makes sense.
I think that sounds about right.
I can't think of another reason why they would do that. You know what I mean?
But here's the thing. So I think that could be the reason. That might be the reason. I don't think it's specifically targeted as there's too much shit on our server here that YouTube needs to cut down on all of this stuff. I think it's more of what you said, but they're letting this algorithm and automated system determine this, and that's screwing a lot of people. So then,
I mean, I get that, but there's also millions upon millions upon millions of videos being uploaded every day, every hour.
Right.
You can't physically have humans check that. So there has to be a way to do that. Like, I mean, you know how many, like, I guess, I mean, you can have humans check that, but then like you're gonna have everybody in the world fucking employed watching YouTube videos for content.
I'm sure people would
for ads, but that just sounds like a horrible Matrix reality where people are just watching YouTubes for words and ads that could be controversial. Like that's a dystopian reality. That's horrible.
I don't know. I feel like if you get to work from home and do that job and it like you're gonna get paid for that, I think some people wouldn't mind it.
But some people wouldn't mind it, but I think I'm just saying, I'm picturing just like the bigger picture of it, of just everyone watching videos to make sure that certain words can't be said because then certain ads can't be. It's just like really weird corporate dystopia that I don't like.
Well, here's where I realized that it's an algorithm first, and then maybe if you're lucky and you get somebody that's really paying attention to your material to go through it for a human review, that then be like, oh, okay, yeah, it was a misinterpretation, you're back on there.
Yeah.
Rarely have I don't think I've ever seen when I did the human review that it overturned the thing and it says, nope, you're still limited. Like, I'm sure it's just somebody there and clicking yep, like down the line, because there's so many videos they got to review. But here's something I noticed. So I posted a clip for work where they were talking about that rapper.
Which one?
It started with, but the thing, what is his name? It starts with a triple X though.
Triple X.
It's one of those.
I know what you're talking about.
Here it is. Extension. Yeah, him.
Yeah.
So there was in the news thing that the clip we were putting up, it says discussing, the rapper Extension. So he has triple X in his title. So the video got flagged for being limited because it found triple X in the title, in the description, in the tags. So I sent a human review thing in there, and if you watch the video, there's nothing. It's just reacting to a news story, right? And they're discussing it. Nothing bad. It's just, talking about this rapper, and did the human review thing, and it still came back saying, sorry, doesn't qualify. You're still limited on ad partnership, and you'll get limited ads run on this thing. And I said, that's interesting, because the specific piece that I was looking to put up there really was nothing bad at all. And I think they just flagged it because it had the title with triple X in the thing. That's what picked it up automatically, and then I don't think anybody really reviewed it. They just kind of went, nope, that's what the computer says, that's what it is.
Yeah, I mean, that happens, I'm sure.
So that's what's affecting. Gittles, I think, is right about it's protecting companies from these kind of things, but in that same aspect, it's too big a project for it to have humans on it all the time.
That's what I'm saying. There's no other way to really do it.
It's affecting all these bloggers and influencers. And they're not making the money that they used to. The millions of dollars that they were making like 2 years ago has been drastically downsized. And now they're crying poverty and all this stuff.
God, but yeah, hopefully they would have. I don't know. I have to say, I just think that coming from a very broke position where you don't have a lot of money, if you started making a lot of money, I'm going to be that weirdo that fucking hoards my money and keeps it in like these, because I'm just gonna be like, oh my God, I don't want to spend this. I have it. Like, it's going to be too scary. That being said though, that that sucks for those YouTubers, and it just sucks for the YouTube's platform in general, that if they keep doing that and people aren't making the money on YouTube anymore and it kind of dies, then people aren't going to be using it. There's going to be less content. People aren't going to be watching it as much. I think that they do need to figure something out there, because they're going to end up killing their own platform.
That's the other part of it too, is that if it's hitting all these people, a lot of them say, well, we're going to find a different platform to go to. And you can say that all you want, but in this world as it is right now, you develop newer platforms. It's lesser restriction, whatever. Eventually, if it ever got to as big as YouTube did, it's going to start self-policing and do the same thing again because of legality and what have you.
Exactly. It's going to always get to that point.
So you want to do what you want, that's fine, but you want to put this up online, you got to go through the rules here. Like I at my the other job, when they were like, oh, let's put this clip up there, I said, can't put that up there. Why? Oh, because you were talking about something and the clip you were playing had a flash of nudity. Can't put that up there unless you want to blur it out. We can put it up there. Sometimes there's things too what they were alluding to in the conversation. I'm like, can't put that up there too. Why? On YouTube you can put it up. I'm like, no. I said the restrictions have changed. Even in the last year, I've gotten, flags on stuff just because of language that was being discussed. If it was
have you done any tests, like taking the XXX out of the name and reposting the video and see if it'll work? Or typing in triple and then just the letter X, like trying hacks to get around it just as a test to see if it'll go up.
It's got a lot.
That would be a worthwhile experiment, right?
It will going forward. I didn't want to lose the views that I already had on this video. So just because overall it makes the channel look bigger when you have news pieces and discussions that have a lot of views. So we're not making the money off of it. Okay, fine, but it makes the channel look bigger and with the subscribers and view count and what have you. But going forward, I'm finding different ways to creatively word things so that it doesn't tip off the algorithm and the thing that's automatically detecting what's in these videos. You just got to learn to work. Everybody's like, oh, I can say what I want. I want to put this up there. Right, but it's their property. It's their platform. I mean, it's our property, but it's their platform.
Yep.
We got to worry about their rules. So if they don't want stuff that's showing, if we're showing military videos of stuff blowing up and you get one of those dumb Live Leak videos where you're watching, a village get wiped out or something like that. It's like, we can't put that up there. I don't care if the news ran it. The news can get that waiver where they have it as part of legitimate news journalism, but you're playing something off Live League like that. We can't put that up there. That's just the world that we're in now with this thing. It's not the wild, wild west anymore. And it's, if anything, it's over policing just like any network will do. So when everyone says, I can say what I want, I'm going to go start my own, that's great. But when you're not making the money like you would at a corporation or a company that's perfected this, do you want to make money or do you want to just be able to say what you want to say? It's up to you. It's up to you to decide what you want out of this stuff.
I mean, ultimately, because I'm going to be starting my YouTube channel very, very soon. I'm
reporting it for spam.
Sorry?
I'm going to report violation. Yep.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, E-Rock. I mean, yeah, it's probably going to be a lot of spam. No, but I think about that and I think about the kind of content that I'm going to make. And ultimately, my content, I'm not PG, but my content is going to probably be very PG. It's still going to be me. And I'm still going to do the things I want to do creatively.
Right.
But I think about that all the time. There are certain topics that I'm just not going to cover. It's going to be fun and it's going to be super nerdy, but that's, that's where I'm not even going to swear.
Yeah, that's not a problem. Profanity and everything, they're not flagging you for that. If they just see if you're doing a straight-laced program and they say, oh, you're any kind of political coverage kind of gets flagged. Doesn't matter what side of what platform or what country you're in. If it seems to be political, that gets flagged. If it's very news sensitive, not just like news reporting, but again, like if you're showing footage from, I don't know, people getting wiped out by a typhoon or stuff like that, you got
like any kind of natural disaster, mass murder, or like ultra violence, like they censor all that shit.
Right, unless it's under the guise of a legit news operation.
And even sometimes then it'll be like, you must be 17 or older to watch this. Like it'll give you like a warning.
Yeah, and even their news clips too. Like NBC always has these disclaimers. It's like, we warn you, the footage does contain some graphic whatever.
Yeah.
I don't know why we went on this angle when this is not what I was planning to talk about.
Well, I mean, because it's still under the same guise. I mean, you're talking about things that are being censored based on content, so that's how we got here. I mean, it's really not that far off.
Right.
I don't know. I think that it's just, like I said, anytime you put something on YouTube, you have to follow their rules. And that's just what you have to do.
Oh yeah.
And it sucks. And I'm sure they'll find a way to fix it. But I don't know if any of it's actually being done intentionally or if it's just they're having issues because they have such a big server and platform that like you can't have it all done by humans. Maybe they just have to fix their algorithm, you know?
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's not like it's a company that they're screening the people that come on, being like, "Oh, we want to hire this person."
Yeah,
and we know what they're going to see. Yeah, like YouTube is just it's a free for all, and everybody's up there uploading freaking anything they want.
So, imagine if it was they did a deep dive, like the government found out that they were just randomly targeting people. It's like, look, this guy's showing beheading videos, but fuck this girl's boobs in this cosplay thing. We're shadow banning her. She's not, and I don't look. That is a piss poor diva costume. This girl is not going to make any money. But Bob with the beheadings is okay.
Yeah.
Oh, gosh.
Ban all these
I
cat
would hope
videos.
I do kind of hate the weird puritanical thing that people still kind of have with women's bodies. It's just silly
Ridiculous.
At this point. It's like, dude, women fought really, really hard to be able to show their bodies if they want to.
They did?
And yes.
Oh wow, okay, I didn't know that.
Like women used to have to cover up. In some countries, they still do.
Oh yeah, lots of countries you have to.
Like towels?
Yeah.
Like beach towels when you cover up, or when you put shorts on when you leave the pool area to go to the bar area?
Exactly. That's
wow,
covered.
that's a bit
too
harsh.
much covering up.
Yeah.
I hate the people that pretend to be feminists but don't support sex workers. If you or people just anything like that. If you say you're a feminist and you don't support sex workers or the woman's right to use her body how she wants to use it, if she wants to show it off or not, then fuck you. You're not a feminist. Like I hear that a lot of people who get really judgy about that. They're like, "Oh, this woman, she's just what is it called? They're
prostitution.
Just using it like a sex object. They're just showing these women as a sex object. Maybe she wants to be a sex object. I can't have you ever thought about that?
Yeah, but that goes back. That goes back to if you see news clips and stuff from the '60s when feminism was really coming into its own, and into the '70s when the big social movements were happening. They're saying they're objectifying our bodies. You are right.
Get out of here.
They were objectifying women's bodies and everything. But that doesn't mean every woman didn't want that. It doesn't mean every woman did. But like you said, there's a lot of women out there and go, look, I look great in a bikini. I want to be used for ads. Do whatever the fuck you want. I'm making money. I'm not arguing this point. You don't want to do that? That's fine. But don't cut my shit off because
exactly.
that's what I want to do. Just like pot, I think the prostitution thing, if they just legalized it, in a way, it would cut down a lot of the cruelty and the harshness that prostitutes or sex workers, adult film stars go through, where they have that they can qualify as a business to get health care and all these other things.
Yes.
And look, there's
so
a reason it's called
that they need.
Yeah, that's the reason it's called the oldest profession, because it predates biblical times. You know, it's not like it's something new. This has always happened. It's always going to happen. You might as well just kind of regulate it so that people can legitimately make money off of this thing, because people are never going to stop doing this stuff, guys or girls.
Yep, and just let's not forget that all the people who are against prostitution and vote against it are always caught cheating on their wives or fucking some boy in a bathroom or molesting children. So it's like, they can be all high and mighty about what people do behind closed doors for money, but they're the ones just like really fucking shit up and like hurting people and all that stuff. Someone wants to use their body, like, go ahead. I am in favor of legalizing it, get more protections, healthcare. It's not safe. Like that at all. Like, women get kidnapped and murdered and sex trafficked. Like, there's so many things that you can do to fix it. Like, like Amsterdam and other countries have.
Yeah, you would greatly decrease, by legalizing pot, you're decreasing drug trafficking. Same thing with prostitution, because they used to go, or it still kind of go hand in hand, right?
It still does.
So you do that, it would help decrease drug trafficking, human trafficking, because if it's legal, you're not looking to import people anymore for this stuff, and you can catch it easier because now there's corporate outfits like the Bunny in Nevada. They have the ranches, the Bunny Ranch, the Mustang Ranch.
Yeah.
They're all regulated by the I think it's the county that they're in that regulates it, but it's got a governing body that regulates it. If you expand that and whatever state, like Pennsylvania with alcohol, is all state-run facilities. You can't buy alcohol in the state of Pennsylvania. Sorry, you can buy beer, but you can't buy alcohol in the state of Pennsylvania without going to a state-run distributor. Do the same thing for prostitution. If you want to be prostitution, that's fine. But the state's got to have their, get their taste out of it. That was the wrong word to say. They got to get a cut from it. But then that decreases a lot of shit. And you think and all this religious morality and stuff about abortions.
Get the hell out of here.
Get the fuck out of here.
So stupid.
So tired of them.
Legalize pot, legalize prostitution. Look, you want the Democrats to have a good shot in the next election to 2 elections. Biden already fucked up by saying that he's the only one that's not pro, or at least willing to explore legalizing marijuana. He was staunch against it. And as soon as that headline came out, I go, well,
he's done.
He's done. He has a few more weeks in him, but what if he fucks up again? And they go, well, this guy doesn't want to legalize pot. All right.
Legalizing pot has a lot of conservative support too.
Yeah, because
it has a lot of conservative support. And
more people are using marijuana that are public about it. In New York State, New York City, right? There's
every time you walk on the sidewalk, you smell it.
There's a quota that you have to. Not a quota. There's
That could just be me.
There's a limit. Like low level marijuana use and possession is not an arrestable offense anymore.
Yeah, no. It's
and where our studio is, Giddles, it's one of those sides. It's a major street, but it looks like those back alleys in a movie kind of streets.
Oh yeah, there's always just steam like coming out of a vent.
Yeah, exactly.
And like a rat scurrying around.
It looks at night. It looks like
some person with a satchel on a stick. Like what is happening?
Yeah, at night
it'll be this summer. It'll be 140 degrees and there's still steam coming out. Like where is that steam coming from?
At night, it looks like B-roll footage from HBO's Taxi Cab Confessions. Like, yeah,
exactly.
A lonely sax person should be on the corner while there's some kind of wind with newspapers rustling everywhere. Steam's coming out. It's very sultry.
Asian ladies and all those fabric stores underneath you.
Yeah, like, exactly.
Rummaging through old fabrics.
So now I'm thinking about that. I forgot what I was talking about. Oh yeah, legalize pot. So there's people on the all up and down that street that just go out for their smoke breaks, and it's not just like our building. There's a major hotel across the street from our studio. There's a bunch of bars and karaoke lounges and stuff. People go out there for smoke breaks, cigarettes, vapes, joints. They're just out there. You walk down that street any time of day and you're just smelling pot because the city will not arrest you because it's such a low amount. It's not worth the city's time. If you get the
state, they don't care because you're near that heroin McDonald's, the really bad junky one on
the one on 8th,
4th and 8th. Like you're not far from there.
McDonald's?
Yeah, that's literally what it was named because like you could just go in there and there are just junkies just dealing. They're high, they're passed out everywhere. It's no joke. Like you walk in front of that place and you just get mobbed by people.
On 8th Avenue still has what used to be phone booths left, but they're not like the closable doors. They're the almost like a vestibule kind of thing.
Yeah.
They live there at night. Like they go and they put their stuff on the shelves in there, and then they just live in this open vestibule, and that's where they are for the night. That's their room.
That sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus.
The homeless problem has gotten really bad in New York, but anyway, the pot stuff. So yeah, it's such a low level crime that the cops don't even care anymore. Like I've seen them walk past and they're waving hi and stuff. People just smoking joints. They do nothing. So
they've seen me like walking down the street. One time I was in Times Square smoking a joint on like 42nd and 8th, and a cop came by and I was like, "Oh shit!" And I went to hide it, and he literally looked at me and said, "We got bigger fish to fry, dude."
Yeah, they don't care.
And I also and then I looked down and I was like, "Oh yeah, skin color white. I am okay." It's a sad
true.
reality, but it's the truth.
I would use that for the show title, but we'd probably get a lot of outrage for not even looking at the content. If it's like, download our new episode, skin color white, I'm okay.
Yeah, flagged on YouTube immediately. We're not getting any ads, Eric.
Nope, no ads.
Any ads.
No ads.
This is a really white podcast. We're all super white.
It is true. So yeah, legalize so Biden doesn't have a shot in hell now. He can be the forerunner all he wants, but that marijuana thing is really going to ramp up.
He's not gonna get it. Anyway.
No, I don't know. Honestly, this week they had another set of debates, and I was looking at all of them. I don't see any of them being a clear cut. Like if I'm not registered for either party, I'm an independent, so I don't deal with the caucuses and whatever the other one is called,
primaries.
So I don't get that solicitation. I don't get to vote in those things. I get to vote in the general elections, not those. But if I was in the Democratic Party and looking at all these candidates, they're all, you know, as a lot of them are dropping out, others are coming in, and other or announcing that they're exploring, like Bloomberg is exploring the opportunity of coming in. It's like, this is just destroying any shot that we got. It's not even him that's the problem. I mean, that's a problem, but it's not even him going to there. We can't get our shit together to find somebody that's going to represent our party here. Because they all like, all right, this is looking pretty good. Oh, they got that one thing that's not going to do it. And then, oh, she looks pretty. Oh, she's got that one thing that's not going to do it. Then, I guess it's going to be Biden. Oh, he doesn't want to do marijuana. That's not going to do it. It's going to be weird going into the next year.
Yeah,
I haven't been. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no, go for it.
I was gonna say I haven't been following politics that closely, mostly because there's no one I really like, and I'm also kind of tired of it. For fuck's sake.
Yep.
But it seems like Elizabeth Warren is like, or is that done already? Because it seemed like that's who she was kind of pushing hard, and she was like rising up in the polls or some crap like that.
I think
she's near. I think she's near the top. She's near the top. Bernie's near the top. Pete Buttigieg is near the top.
Based on the last polling that set the tone for the debate and the positioning on the debate, it was 1 and 2. Biden and Warren got the center area because he was 1 and she was 2, based on whatever their polling was for the position there.
Right.
But she started to get a decline because she had a lot of these ideas that everyone thought was good, and then when they said, "All right, well now we need to know the money details of how do you expect to pay for these things," and when it comes to that stuff, when that comes out there, and if it doesn't seem to add up, you know, Wall Street people put up and said that doesn't make any sense. Your opponents put stuff out there saying that doesn't make any sense. It's everything. You got to have a convincing argument to get people on your side to vote for it, and I don't think she had financially the details to get a lot more people to join her side. So again, that whole party is a bit, divided based on everybody that's in there. I don't know what's going to happen.
But this is like a major contradiction between the parties, though, is that anytime anyone wants to pass like healthcare or like college education or anything, it's like, how are we going to pay for it? Where are we going to get this money?
Right.
And it's like, but we'll spend trillions of dollars just bombing the shit out of countries that aren't going to affect us. Like, we have so much money. We could tax Apple and make like tons of money. Like Amazon paid no dollars in taxes this year. If you paid, for 1 month of Amazon Prime, you technically paid more money than Amazon paid in taxes, and they made $1 trillion, dude. Like, we have money. We could pay for this. It's just we don't want to tax the people that we can get this money from because we let them skate by for free. Like, that's what it comes down to. Yeah. And that really annoys me. Like, every time it's like, oh, how are we going to pay for this? We could easily pay for this. We're just not, we're not finding the solution to pay for it. And if Elizabeth Warren goes, yeah, we'll tax businesses, then Wall Street, of course, is going to come down hard on her because they don't want to be taxed. They have money, like Wall Street Journal. Like, I mean, how partisan is that going to be? Of course, they're going to be against anything like that. So she, like, when she says things like, we're going to tax that, she's coming
Wall Street
against,
Journal's owned by Amazon.
Yeah, no, but the name Wall Street Journal doesn't really sound like it's going to be very partisan towards her attacking Wall Street, is what I'm saying.
Okay, gotcha.
Like, I don't think chickens would read Fried Chicken Weekly. You know what I mean?
They might. That might be their only thing that they read. It's like, I only read Fried Chicken Weekly. You're a sick fuck, Bob.
Sick ones do, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's just really annoying because it's only when it's something that can actually help people that we care about where the money's going to come from. But if we're going to do anything that's destructive or anything in that realm, or like put money towards weapons, like, not a problem. Rubber stamp it. Tax cuts to, all the people on Wall Street, rubber stamp. Like, I don't get it.
I agree to an extent. I definitely think that we should, I mean, I don't know about bombing countries. I'm not for that, obviously, but I do think that we should spend a certain amount on military just to be safe, because
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm not saying cut all military.
Right. But I do think that there is a huge mismanagement of funds. Because I mean, my biggest thing is I don't fucking understand why we don't fund education more. I don't fucking get it. Teachers make shit for money. Schools are run down. It's fucking crap. And they're talking about these impoverished communities being like, oh, what do we do? Hey, how about you put more money into education, asshole, so that kids fucking come out a little bit on top? But no, that's what I don't get. Like, teachers are like, hey, teachers are going on strike to make a slightly livable wage. They're making like 30,000 a year, if that, which is just sad. You can't live on that. I don't understand it. They spend their own money on supplies for classes. I think, and same thing with like when people talk about raising the minimum wage and they're like, what, you want $15 an hour for flipping burgers? It's like, yeah, but $15 an hour now is like $7 an hour back when it was $7. You know what I mean? Like the dollar doesn't mean, it's like you have $15 an hour is not a lot. And then they're like, well, and then the argument that I keep seeing is, well, what about people who are like, you know, paramedics who save lives and stuff? I think, and nurses, they should be making way more than $15 an hour. That should be like a high paying job. Paramedics who get paid what they get paid right now to me is also fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, I just, stuff like that makes me so angry. I just don't, that's what I don't get is we're like, oh, these people just want stuff for free. It's like, no, people want to get paid a living wage for the work they do, especially good work like nurses and paramedics and teachers, and we're not paying shit to them. It's so sad.
Yeah, and like the argument over minimum wage, like, oh, $15 for, you know, someone flipping burgers, like what people don't understand is like all that money, like that $15 that goes into like, say, my pocket, I can spend that now in my community. Like, so I can go to the stores now and buy shit. Where like if you don't have that money, you can't buy shit, so you can't keep your economy going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a problem, and especially with things like Amazon, because they're taking money out of the local economy. Because now you're just getting everything online sent to your house. You're not going to the local businesses, so it's like there's a massive problem due to this. And like you could fix all this. It's not hard. It's just, you know, people don't want to tax the wealthy because the wealthy control the news, which says if you tax the wealthy, it'll be bad. Like, I mean, it's just what it comes down to. It's not rocket science.
I feel like that stuff I don't know enough about I'd have to look into all of that more, because I know, like, I did read somewhere that the richest 1% of people pay like a majority of the taxes, but I don't know if that's true or if that's just like, I would have to look into that way more to know what the fuck that's all about, because there's so much
there's different kinds of taxes and stuff like that, so it depends on what kind of tax you're talking. But
I think that's just
overall
income tax.
Yeah, they don't make any income tax. They don't pay any income tax.
How does that work though? Like if someone's making
all their money is in like stocks and bonds and shit like that, and then they get people to get tax rates off on different kinds of investments. Like it's just a whole big money moving shell game scheme.
Right. So that's why a lot of high level corporate people make such small, ridiculous salaries. Most of the time, you'll hear sometimes it's like, oh, he only makes $1 or he only makes $100,000 a year. And you're like, multi-million dollar company, billion-dollar company, almost trillion at some points. They're like, and that's all they make? Yeah, because that's what they call
10 billion in stock options.
That's what they call liquid assets. So it's money you actually have in your account or things like that that can be taxable. So if you're liquid, they usually have very little. But if they have to buy things, they do transactions where, okay, we got to buy this house, so the money that comes from the sale of these stocks then gets, you know, they pay the taxes right out of that, and that goes into there. So the money's never directly through them. Their homes are owned by their shell corporation, or their cars and stuff, all owned by their company that they say up. That so technically they're an employee of their own company.
Yeah, like when you get to a point that you make enough money, you can afford to like find a way to not pay more money. Like, it's crazy. Like, if you're poor, like, you get stuck at every loophole because they're like, oh yeah, like, you got to pay this. This is like $100. This is $60. Go to this tax guy and you're fucked. Like, you're you can be like, oh yeah, totally reroute this through that. Oh, this will save me how much? Oh, if I invest in this, then I can get this money out of here, so I don't have to pay this. Like, there's so many ways to cheat the system if you have money.
It's such trash because my husband makes, I mean, like, kind of decent, but not really, like, just barely enough for us to kind of get by. Yeah. And we pay, or he pays out of just his paycheck. I don't even look at mine because mine is mostly tips and I don't want to fucking know. $1,000 a month in taxes. That's a lot. That's like a lot.
Oh, just like for just income tax?
Yeah, income tax.
All right, I do want to point out, yes, that is a lot. Also, you're in the state that taxes pretty much almost the most.
Yeah,
in the United States.
I know, it's
You're
true,
behind, I think, Jersey and New York, but California has ridiculous tax structure that
I
you're
don't know what the
paying.
tax structure's like out there.
You're paying
It's terrible.
Giddles. The average gas price out there is between $5 and $6 a gallon.
It
Yeah,
sucks.
that I get, but I just didn't know like other tax stuff.
Oh
like
yeah,
excess
everything's taxed
taxes.
through the nose out there. Whatever you could max out in California, they do. And that's because they have a lot of these programs that they're paying for, and all these social things that they're taking care of, and that needs money. So if the state doesn't have the money, that's where all the taxing comes through. And if you're making, say, like you're making $50,000 and you're living in California, you're well below the poverty line. If you're making $50,000 and you're in Florida or Texas, you're in the middle class. You're doing okay.
New York
Yeah,
City,
no.
$50,000 is borderline poverty.
Yep.
Like
Oh,
here in the city, it's so
not
expensive to
enough
live here.
it's not enough to $50,000 a year. Half of your money would go to rent here.
Oh yeah, same here. Like if you made 50,000 here, like by the time you're done with income taxes, you probably take home like 38,000 or something like that. Then if you have an apartment, which is going to be like, if you're lucky enough to get one by yourself, it could be anywhere between $1,500 and $3,000 a month times a year. And then you're like, okay, now I have to buy food, I have to get health insurance. Like you have no money. Like it's
You
crazy.
have nothing. Yeah, there's no leftover. There's no savings. There's no leftover money for
What are you
like
talking about savings?
eating out or any.
I have savings right here. I have this jar and I have this jar. I have a savings account and a checking account.
I have this jar too.
Yeah, see, the
Wait.
pennies is the
nice,
savings account, and the silver change is the checking account. Because I go into
Aw.
that one more, and then this one I cash in later.
I just want to do this because people were not happy with the sounds that we were
No
doing
one is
last
happy
week.
with
That's
that.
not surprising.
Because
That
I
was
have
a terrible sound.
So I have this change cup right here, like Giddles has, and then I have this one. Oh wait, that's the chili one. No, we don't do that one.
Oh, Eric.
Anyway.
Can
All right, enough of that nonsense.
out of here. Throw your can out.
We'll move on to some other funner things.
Yeah, I'm sure people are gonna love that conversation.
Oh, should we get into the impeachment hearings? That'll be fun.
Let's break down. I'm trying to figure out, do we do the movie screening story now?
Well, I feel like the movie screening story isn't like a TV and movie segment. I think it's more of a life story.
Yeah,
Okay,
I
so you
want
want to do that now? Okay.
Yes.
So Brian and I got invited to a press screening for the movie called Knives Out. We've been very excited about this. It stars a plethora of celebrities and good actors and
Yeah,
actresses.
it's a huge cast, and it's done by Ryan Johnson.
The Ryan Johnson who screwed up the Star Wars movie.
If that's your opinion on that.
Okay.
Yes.
It stars Don Johnson, Daniel Craig, Jamie Lee Curtis is in there. Who else is
Chris
there?
Evans.
Chris Evans. Frank
Christopher
Oz I saw
Plummer.
on the cast
Frank
list.
Oz, Christopher Plummer,
A lot of people.
a lot of people. Big
So
cast.
it feels like it feels like Clue. From what I saw with the trailer, Giddles can give a more in-depth description of the movie a little bit later without giving any spoilers or anything, because the movie's not out yet. It had a Clue kind of feel, at least with the trailer. So that was enough to be like, oh, this feels kind of awesome. I want to go see this. So the publicist reached out and said, hey, you guys want to come to the movie screening? Yes, we do. So we went to go on Wednesday night to the movie screening. So I meet up with Brian at the movie theater, and so he was waiting on a line, and I was waiting on a different line for a little bit, and then I realized that the movie line I was on was not the movie I was looking to see. It was something called Queen and Slim.
Yeah, some other new movie. I think Wednesdays is like preview day because there was the two movies at our theater, and then across the street there was the Regal, and there was a couple of lines there for people seeing sneak previews. So I think Wednesday's like the sneak preview day.
Also, I would like to note those two movie theaters are directly across the street from each other, and it has been known in the past to be different gang territories when Times Square was really bad. It was a blood versus Crip kind of situation, depending on which movie theater you went to. So,
and chances are you'd just get bed bugs.
Yeah. So I think Slim and Queen. That's what it's called. Queen and Slim, whatever. It feels like a black version of Bonnie and Clyde. I
don't know anything about it. I just saw the poster.
So that movie, and I realized when they were handing all the tote bags and shirts, I go, oh, I'm in the wrong line. So I go into the theater, the main lobby area, and there's Giddles right there waiting online. We wait to go check in, And the press line's taking a while. Usually the press line gets in first. So they said, oh, it's a shared screening. So we're like, did they give tickets away? Are we there with a general audience that got advanced screenings, what have you? Turns out that there was also a SAG and AFTRA screening. So it had SAG and AFTRA, and it also had press.
Yeah.
We get our tickets. Now, this complex has 20-something theaters in it.
It's 26, I think.
Yeah, 26 theaters in there. 25, Empire 25. That's the
Yes, that's right.
For the AMC theater. And it's 6 or 7 stories. So you have to go up these really long escalators to get to the next floor.
It's technically 25 stories, get it? But go on.
So we go up the escalator to go to the second story, I guess it is technically. And there's another check-in point where we got to check in there to go up to the other escalators. So I said, oh, are the concessions open on the other floors? No, they're not. It's just here. Oh, this isn't going to be good if this one area is the only thing open for this whole complex. So Brian and I look at each other. Brian's like, I'll go get the seats. And then I was going to go to the concession area. So Brian leaves to go get the seats. Now, if you're a Premier member or an A-list member for AMC, there's a separate line just for you. It's supposed to bypass the general lines and get you in and out pretty fast. And if you have the app, you can place your order on the app. So I was like, okay, I'll go on the Premier line, and the line's taking forever. So I said, all right, you know what? I'll just do the express areas over there. I'll just do the app. And because this isn't an official movie showing, this was a screening, it's not registered there because it ties into the movie. So I couldn't pre-order on the app either. So I'm like, damn it. So I was on that line for like 20 minutes trying to just get it. And there was only 4 people in front of me to these 2 registers that they have. And it was taking forever. Finally get up there. They called me over to the register and they said, this is cash only. I'm like, who's paying cash only nowadays, right?
Who has that much cash to get 1 soda and a popcorn in a movie theater? Like,
right.
I don't have that kind of cash. Speaking of liquid assets, I don't have that kind of liquid assets.
So I'm fresh. I'm like, seriously? And they're like, oh, well, we have to wave somebody else over. I said, no, I've been waiting on that line for 20 minutes. You can take my damn card. I had to move over to the next register and wait for that idiot to finish up. And I say idiot because the guy running that register, I know people work hard in service jobs. And this guy was dumb because I would say the order to him. It was simple. Brian wanted a large seltzer, so it's soda, and he wanted popcorn. I didn't want anything. I just wanted a soda myself. So I go, large popcorn, 2 sodas. Very simple. He's pushing buttons on there. And he goes, all right, so popcorn, how many sodas? 2 sodas. And now he's just hitting buttons, and I don't know what's going on. He's like, oh, okay. And he's about to do the final ring up. I go, no, I have my rewards thing or my Premier thing to get the discount and all this stuff. He says it's expired. No, it's not. I used it like a week or 2 ago, and I had like $25 in reward money to use.
Yeah.
And he's scanning it again. It's taking a while. He says it expired. So I said, could you get this stuff? Let me look for this, figure out what it is. So I dig through. It expired like 2 days previous to this screening. I had no idea.
Oh, you were so close.
Exactly.
Damn.
So close. So I was like, damn it. So now I have to spend $25 for the popcorn and 2 large sodas. So I'm mad at this. He comes back. He has 2 large containers of popcorn, brings 2 soda cups over. Then he gets a bag of popcorn. So now there's 3 popcorns on the counter. I go, what are you doing? And he looks down. What? I said, large popcorn, 2 sodas. Oh, right. So now he's taking the popcorns back, and he's holding the rim with his hand in the popcorn like this. And he's putting it back on that little heated area for where they fill up all the containers.
Like the French fry steamer thing, whatever it is.
So like holding this. See, like if this was somebody's cup, right, you would hand it to them like this, or by the handle.
Yeah.
Like that.
No.
He had his hand in the bucket of the popcorn like that.
Imagine his first day as a barista. Here's your coffee.
Serve you right, you're fired. So get the stuff.
How high was this guy?
He wasn't, and I thought, and I'm like, is he a little slow? Let's see if he's just, whatever. Try to give him benefit of that. No, he's just a dumb guy. He was a dumb guy. So I get the popcorn.
People exist.
Yeah. I was analyzing it. I'm like, all right, can I get mad? Is he Is there a situation here? Is there special circumstances? Do I have to be
Am I
mindful
gonna be
of this
on
stuff?
Twitter later? Like, what's gonna happen?
Right. And I'm thinking about it and I go, nope. I waited. I examined the whole thing. This guy is a dumb guy. So he gives me everything. I finally go. So I was like, where's the butter stuff for the popcorn? Oh, it's over there. Now, this is a huge L-shape area. On this side of the L is all the Coca-Cola Freestyle machines. In the corner here of the L is the express stuff where you order by the app, you go and you pick it up and go on your merry way. On this part of the L is all the registers for everything else. The popcorn butter is over on this part of the L, the far end of the L. So I have to go through this huge crowd to get over there to get the butter on the popcorn. Then I have to cut through these people again to get to the other side just to get to the soda machines. And at this point, I guess I was not registering the fact that what I was thinking was coming out of my mouth, because people started looking at me and I'm like, oh my God, I'm not internally saying what I want to say. So I said, sorry, excuse me, going through it. God damn it, people. And like I told one guy to move and he turned and looked at me. I went, oops.
Wow.
I said that wrong. So I get the popcorn. I cut everybody. I get over to the Coca-Cola Freestyles. They have no trays. So I got these 2 large sodas and this big bucket of thing. And now I got to go up these really long escalators. So I'm like, all right, theater's on the next floor. So I go up to the 3rd floor. Nope, I got to go up 2 more escalators to where this thing. So I'm just carrying this stuff.
It was all the way at the top.
Yeah, I was carrying this stuff very awkwardly, and they're steep. They're not just like you get on a little platform and you kind of go up. They go this. It's very steep. So you're holding on to this stuff, fighting gravity from toppling over while I'm holding all of these things. Get to the floor that the theater's on, and as I see the theater down the hallway, I go, okay. As I'm walking over there, this lady runs out of the women's room that was near the theater door, goes running over there to that theater door. So I'm like, oh, great, somebody's there, and I don't have to move everything to open the door. I said, hold that. She turns, she looks at me as she goes through the door and then kept going through the door. So I went, son of a bitch. So now I'm over there by the door, and I'm trying to, like, with my ring finger and pinky finger, which are the 2 weakest fingers on your hand, holding all this stuff, trying to lift the door latch to open the thing to get in there. Finally get in. Got to go up the ramp. It's dark. The movie's already started. I think I'm about 10 minutes late into the start of the movie because this is a screening. There's no previews. The movie just starts right away. So now I'm sitting there trying to let my eyes focus and trying to see where Giddles is because the place is pretty packed. I'm looking. Finally, I just see a little hand waving like this, like, hi, like that. And I was like, oh, that's him. So I go up the stairs, and now there's the main audience seating right here, and then there's like an upper platform. So he's up there, and I'm sitting there in my head. I'm like, why is he in the upper platform? So I go up there, and I realize he's dead center in the upper platform.
Yeah,
and I looked,
seats.
and I looked, and I go, oh my God, I got to try to cut through all these people with this stuff to get over to those seats. So I'm kind of in my head, I'm just going crazy. I'm like, why wouldn't he get seats closer to the aisle for all of this, right? I don't know the story about what's happened on Giddles' end. I'm just going to clarify that now, so it's not me yelling at him, or this shit's going through my head and driving me crazy because it doesn't make any sense, right? So when I'm done here, Giddles will tell what happened on his side. So now I'm sitting there, I'm like, why is he in the middle of the seat? Why isn't he sitting in the front? So now I'm starting to get heated and everything. And I look, there's about almost 20 people from the aisle end to where Giddles and my seat are. I go, oh, this is going to be a pain in the ass. I get about 6 people in. I'm like, excuse me. I'm walking through. Then something weird happens with the row that he's in. The seats from the row in front of it, because it's now weird. It's not even stadium seating. It's like block level.
It's like
right?
bucket seating.
Right. They're lean. The tops of the seats are leaned back this way. So when your seat's here, your legs are hanging over like this. The front of these seats are leaned back. There's maybe 1 inch to 2 inches from your legs to the front of that, from the top of that seat. There's no room to walk. So I get about 6 people in, and then I see the seats change, the whole layering of the seats change. And I look down, I go, there's no way I'm going to be able to get over there. And the next guy that's there is a guy with a cane, and he's just shifting around, and he's refusing to get up. So I said, now I'm mad at the guy at the cane. I'm mad at the seating. I'm mad at all this stuff. I don't know why Giddles picked these seats. So I edge back. I go, nope, not doing this. And I said this. I shouldn't, again, I wasn't thinking internally. I go, nope, not doing this. Turned around and had those poor people get readjusted so I could leave the aisle. I go down to the mid platform and looking at Giddles. I'm trying to say, I'm like, come out here. So I wanted to at least give Giddles his stuff, right? I had a seltzer and the popcorn, and Brian does the equivalent of that emoji with the smiley face with the hands up, like, I don't know. Like, he wasn't smiling. He's just like, I don't know what to do, because he can't get out. If I can't get in, he can't get out, right? So that's not on him. He's just like, I don't know what to do. So I know I'm kind of stuck here. I'm like, damn it. All right, I got to find another seat. And I look, and I do a quick scan of the theater. There's nothing. There's nothing open. So I go down the stairs, and I'm like, oh, I don't know what to do. I'm just fuming at myself now. And I see that there's 2 seats open. But these 2 seats are the handicap accessible seats that are not in the aisles. They're little 2 things off, like side pieces right here. I go and I sit down. I put everything down in the seat next to me. There's no way I'm going to get to Giddles. I have all this stuff here. I look up. The screen is right above me. I'm sitting there like this. My neck's straight up. I'm looking. I'm like, I can't watch a movie like this. And it's blurry. Like, I can see clear in the dead center, but off to everything else, the peripheral part of the screen, all blurry. And I look back down, and I turn around, and I look up the stadium seating to see if I can see Giddles. It's too dark. I look back at the screen, and I go, I can't do this. I can't do this. So I get up. I take all the stuff with me. And again, I'm like, I can't do this. Not using my internal voice. I'm saying this. People are looking at me. I'm the asshole who's causing a scene here. I admit it. I don't normally do this, but for some reason, my inner monologue just was switched off and everything was coming out of my mouth. Isolate that. So I go down the ramp to leave the theater. I'm just... I took the sodas and the popcorn and threw it into the garbage can as hard as I could. So at this point, it's like the movie's going on and there was a lull in the conversation. You just hear, boom, as I just hucked everything into the receptacle area there. And I just got out of there and I said, I can't deal with this. I'm leaving. So I go back down 4 lonely escalators that takes you to the back end of Dave & Buster's. You don't even go out the front of the theater. It takes you to
Dave & Buster's. You're like, wait, this isn't where I came in. And
exactly.
So confusing.
You go to Dave & Buster's, then you have to go down this escalator at Dave & Buster's, where you get down to street level, and you're in Madame Tussauds Wax Museum. Like, it's a weird whole thing going down.
It's so weird, yeah.
So I get down there, and I get out of the building, because my phone's not really working in there. And one piece I forgot to mention. When I met up with Giddles at the beginning of this, he's like, oh, good thing you got here. My phone died.
Yeah, I had no power.
So I had no communication with him. So I didn't know where he was seating. I didn't know things were going on his end there. And I was texting him at the end when because I knew his phone was dead. I'm like, well, he'll leave. He'll see that I'm not here. He'll get home. He'll charge his phone, and this text will be sitting there waiting for him. And what I wrote to him was, give me 1 second. I'll pull this up here. Here it is. So I wrote to him, and I said, I left. We'll talk about the movie tomorrow. And that was it. I was furious. So I walked about 2 blocks away from the theater. I'm going to go back to my studio down in Midtown there, get my stuff, and then get on the train and leave the city. I get about 2 blocks, and then all of a sudden I start laughing. And I start realizing to myself, because of course this happened. Of course my streak continues with movies being interrupted or disrupted in the most ridiculous ways. Of course this happened. His phone died. I couldn't communicate with him. I don't know what's going on. This happened to me. All of this stuff. And I just started laughing. I'm like, this will be funny for the show. Right? I said, I got to find out what happened with Giddles on his end here, because he's probably like, where the hell did he go? So do we want to tell your side, or should I read the text that later, like after 11 o'clock when you got home?
You can wait. It might be. I don't remember what I wrote. I'd have to look.
Okay, so that's my part of the story. Then I leave. I'm mad. I get a couple blocks away and I start laughing. I go, of course, this is so ridiculous that this will be a good story. Now we'll pick the story back up again. Giddles and I are parting ways. I go to the concession area. Giddles is now going to get our seats. What happened on your end?
Yeah, so I go up to the theater and I get in. I see 2 seats in the perfect location, dead center of the theater. Like, you cannot get better seats for a movie. So I say, you know what? I'm going to grab those seats. Those look like great seats. Eric will be very happy. I got us amazing fucking seats because that's what you want when you go to a movie. Like my biggest pet peeve when I go to a movie, and this is why I don't usually get concessions, is that I need to have a good seat. It's like the most important thing for me when I go to a movie. Like I don't want to be off to the side a little bit. I don't want to be down in front. I don't want to be way up in the back. I want to be in the center, in the middle, where it just takes up my full field of vision and I don't have to like look around or like, you know, pay attention to the screen.
Now, I also want to point out before Gittles continues, it wasn't like we just got into the theater as the movie was starting, okay?
No, we had like 15, 20 minutes.
About 20 minutes, because I looked at the time because I wanted to check this from the concession. I'm like, oh, we have 20 minutes. I can grab this stuff through the express line and be back up there would be fine. So when I go to concession, Gittles goes upstairs. He gets to the theater. He's got 20 minutes to wait before the movie starts. So we had plenty of time.
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
plenty
continue.
of time. Yeah, we had plenty of time, and I knew one thing, and that is that the places where you need concessions to move fast, they don't move fast. So, like, movie theaters, it never works. And I saw the line for that, and it was
does
like the
in
line
certain theaters, because the ones near me, I bypass everything really fast.
Well, maybe. I don't know about these, like, membership cards and shit like that. So when I, like, see the line there, and it looks like fucking Space Mountain at Disneyland, like, I'm not waiting on that line, knowing that we have 20 minutes till the movie starts. Yeah, so I get up there, find the seats, and I'm just sitting there waiting. You know, I don't have a phone, and there is no, like, trailers or previews. So I'm just literally just sitting there staring at a black screen, thinking, like, man, this must have sucked back in the days before phones and internet, where you just had to, like, stare at things with nothing going on.
And converse with your neighbors.
Yep, so I put my coat there, reserving the seat next to me, holding it as a nice person does for Eric. People keep coming by. Is that seat reserved? Is that seat reserved? I'm like, yeah, seat's reserved. I'm holding it for a friend.
There were also seats, by the way, that had signs that said reserved.
Yeah, those were for the SAG-AFTRA people. They had like the red tickets, so they were allowed to pick the reserved seats. But I think once the movie started and you got in there, you probably could have just taken any seat you wanted.
But they were all full. That was the problem.
Yeah. So like people just kept coming up to me and they were like, are these seats taken? These seats taken? I'm like, well, this one seat's taken, this other seat's not. And then this like, you know, just, you know, the guy comes out, sits down, like one seat down, still have the seat open. Fine. I'm waiting. Movie starts. I'm like, all right, well, I really hope Eric can find me. Is like all I'm thinking. The lights go down, and then Ryan Johnson's face comes on the screen. He's like, "Hey everyone, I'm Ryan Johnson. I made this movie, and it's a whodunit. So please don't spoil it for people because I want them to have fun." And I'm like, "Okay, hopefully Eric will walk in now." And then it just goes pitch black, and I'm like, "Uh oh." And I'm thinking in my head, what are the chances that Eric's actually going to make this movie? And I'm thinking to myself, like, no, it can't be a possibility that he's here, has a ticket, and somehow is going to miss this movie. I'm like, it can't happen. So I'm sitting there, and then all of a sudden, I'm like, well, I'm watching in the front, just watching the front corner. Every time someone comes in, I'm like, is that, oh, that's not, sorry. I'm like trying to get all happy, trying to wave Eric down. And people who don't know me, I wear all black. So in a theater, like, you're not seeing me. Like, I'm like the Cheshire Cat. You better hope I'm smiling.
Gittles looks like Ghost Dog.
Yeah, like, you just can't see me. So I'm, like, trying to wave, like, hey, Eric, maybe you'll see me. So then I see Eric walk in with these drinks and all this stuff. And he's looking around, like this, because that's what you do. Your eyes aren't adjusted yet. You know, you don't know what to do. And then finally, I'm, like, able to catch his attention. So I'm like, all right, finally, he sees me. He's coming up. I'm watching Eric come up the row. He's coming up fine. And then I see him coming down the road. He's like, excuse me. And it wasn't as far in as he's saying. It wasn't like 20 seats in. It was only about like 10 seats in, because I was counting them as I was going in, because I was trying to get mid-center, and it was about like a 20-row seat for the whole thing. So I'm watching Eric, and he only got like about 4 seats away from me. Like, he was pretty close. And then I see him just go, fuck it. And then he turns around, and I'm like, where's Eric going? I'm like, you're right there. Like, you're so close.
At
like,
that point, that's when I said, nope. And I turned around, and then had those poor people have to get up again so I could try to get out.
And I'm sitting there, I'm like, is he just not going to, like, ask these people to move out of the way? Like, yes, so, like, whatever, move out of the way. Just, like, scoot. I have to get by. Like, I don't, Eric is usually a guy who'll be like, excuse me, I have to get by, and then just run you over. Like, I've seen Eric do that numerous times. And so I was expecting him to just do that at the theater, and then he didn't. So then I just start watching him. I'm missing parts of the movie now because like this show is like even better than what's happening on the big screen. What's happening on the big screen is great. So I'm like watching Erik, like the Peter and the Wolf music is playing in my head, like do 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 as he's walking around with these sodas and these popcorns trying to find a seat. And I'm like looking down in front of me, and there's like plenty of open seats like in the middle down near the front. And then Erik just sits in the first seat like that you can possibly sit in when you walk into the theater. And I see him sitting there like trying to see the screen. Like how a dog looks at you confused when you say something
when the head
weird.
turns slightly.
Like the head cock, like what are you doing? I'm watching him. And then I just see him get up and leave. And I'm like, oh, there he goes. And all I can think in my head is, I hope he's sneaking into another movie, because I'm like, well, actually, the first thing I thought was he's gonna like go around back, come around the other entrance of the theater, and maybe try and find a way up through the other side. Like I was thinking maybe that's what Erik is doing.
There was no other side.
Yeah, I think there was, but like,
it didn't,
but it
from
wasn't
the entrance
like,
I came in, it only went that one way.
Yeah, but like, so I'm thinking, and like, okay, maybe he's gonna find another way up, and then I keep looking down at that seat, like every minute or two, I'm like, oh, it's empty. Oh, maybe he's coming back. And then I see someone come in and sit down in that seat, and it wasn't Erik. And I'm like, oh, he's not coming back.
Nope.
And then I'm like just wondering in my head, what is Erik doing with these seltzers and these popcorns? Like, I hope he's drinking it or eating it, like I don't, or like using it somewhere else. Yeah. And then I watched the movie, and it was great. You missed a great time, Erik. It was really fun. You really would have liked it. When the movie was over, some girl yelled at me, said you were reserving that seat for a friend and you didn't sit there the whole movie. And I said, I'm sorry. And then she went, bleh, and walked out. And I was like, okay. So thanks, Erik.
Well, you should say to her, well, you weren't sitting there either.
Yeah.
And that's all you have to say, and you stare at her.
She asked if she could sit there, and I said, I'm saving this for my friend Erik.
Just go, did you see him try to make that spectacle he made trying to get across here? It wasn't happening. That's not my fault, lady. None on me. And
yeah.
Who are you? Where's your ticket?
And it sucked too, because when I got into the theater, like I realized that like it was gonna fill up pretty fast, and like my phone was completely dead. So it was at 0%. So I couldn't even send like a quick text that was just like, get here now or something. You know, I didn't even have that kind of power. And I wasn't just gonna leave my coat on the seat and then like go down 3 escalators worth of stairs to find Erik to tell him to hurry up. So yeah. It was a great movie.
Now, before we get to the movie, what you did was accidental, and that lady getting upset, it was an accidental situation on your part, because you didn't know this was going to happen, and I wasn't going to be able to come and see this stuff. I've gone to movie screenings in the past with Roland, our talent booker over at SiriusXM.
I know who Roland is.
The audience have to explain that. So Roland, who used to work with us, we'd go to movie screenings, and Roland would put out his jacket and stuff, or take our jackets and put it in seats around him, and people would come over for the screenings, and he said, no, it's being reserved. We have people coming there down at getting the concession, whatever. So then everyone would get their seats and go sit elsewhere. Then the lights would go off, and when the movie would start, he would cackle in that weird little kitty voice that he does, like so he'd start laughing hysterically because the movie starts, and he'd move the jacket so he could sit out there and have nobody sitting next to him, and he'd had 3 seats to himself.
Wow.
Every time.
Pretty smart.
It was hilarious, because every screening we'd go to, unless they were the private theaters, like the movie theater, the movie company private showroom kind of things, where we had the big reclining seats, the big company stuff. If you're in a stadium, theater seatings like that, he would do that, and then when the movie would start, he'd just start howling laughing because nobody was coming to take those seats, and he got all 3 of them for himself.
Wow.
Yeah, Roland was kind of a dick, but cool like that.
I was gonna say dick move.
It's a very dick move, but I loved doing that. We'd encourage him because it was so funny to see him get away with it all the time. So the movie ends. Griddles will tell you about the movie in just a second, but about 11 o'clock or so, Brian's home, and I wrote, was the movie good? And I just laughed in the text. So when he responded, he says, it was great. You missed a good time. You were so close.
So close, Erik. You almost made it.
So close. But the movie was
so
good?
close, I meant you were literally 3 seats away. That's what I meant by so close. But then I realized in the big picture, you were so close to seeing a movie.
Yes. So close. But the movie was good.
Oh my God, it was great.
I can't wait to maybe see it one day.
A lot of fun for having such a gigantic cast. Everyone pretty much had equal screen time, which was kind of interesting. It was just really fun. I think everyone's really gonna like it. It's very Clue-esque. I think the hardest part for people, and this is not a spoiler, is that Daniel Craig has a deep Southern drawl. So for the first 15 minutes, like it's really hard to understand what accent he's talking in, because when he speaks, you're supposed to be like, "Hi, I'm Bond," not "I reckon I'm from the South, y'all," and that's how he speaks. So when he speaks like that, it's so jarring. But after about 15 minutes, you kind of get used to it. But it is really weird. Like even everyone in the crowd kind of laughed a little when he starts speaking. You're like, "Oh, well, this is how he's going to do the whole movie." All right, let's see it. You know, it's pretty ridiculous. So
who did it? Who was the killer?
The Southern guy did it? Daniel Craig? Oh, wow.
I reckon. No, it was not. I will not spoil the movie because I want everyone to have as much fun as I did.
I want to go watch it.
Definitely go see it. It's just a fun movie.
Knives Out.
It's just one where you can tell everyone in the theater is having a good time. Everyone's laughing at the same jokes. Like everyone's on the same page. Good movie.
I like.
Knives Out is apparently a great movie. Giddle saw it. I did not, but you can see it. You listening out there. It comes out November 27th, so next Friday. You can go out there and see it for the big Thanksgiving weekend.
I was going to say
yes. Oh, but basic premise. Sorry, so I didn't even mention that. Is a murder mystery writer is murdered in his house, and so they're trying to figure out who did it. So that's
Did you say November 27th?
Yes.
Next week, Thanksgiving.
Next Friday.
It is a great Thanksgiving.
I thought next week, November 27th, was a Wednesday.
It's a Wednesday.
Is it?
Friday is the
Am I just
29th.
making assumptions? Hang on, let me take a look. Yeah, you're right. It is Wednesday.
Yeah,
My
it's
bad.
coming up for Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving's on Thursday. So
I thought it was a Friday release. It's a Wednesday release for the holiday weekend.
It's a great family movie because everyone's a family, and so it's perfect for Thanksgiving.
Were there knives and were they out?
That's a
dude,
good question.
there are so many knives in this movie just because there's a giant like wall of knives, but you'll see.
Ooh.
You'll see.
Do you know
Game of Thrones-esque?
Do you know the movie was originally titled Knives Out for Harambe?
Oh, yeah, I did.
And
Nice
then just
bringing that
marketing
one back.
decided to shorten it down. Said, Knives Out is good. Everybody gets the rest of it.
They get the Harambe bit. It's over.
Right.
That monkey ruined everything.
So go see that movie on the 27th. It's Giddles
You too,
approved.
Eric.
I don't see that happening at this point. No.
I was going to say, are you going to keep trying to go to movies? Because it seems like every single time.
I've
This
gotten
was
to
all
the
his
point.
fault.
I've gotten to the point.
He could have found a better seat. I saw seats. I was looking.
There
at
was
them.
no seats for me to get access to
seats
carrying all of that
everywhere.
stuff. No.
You could have just sat on one of the little old ladies who probably have a blue check mark on Twitter who were talking about when they saw, Jason and the Argonauts live at the Regal in Los Angeles.
Okay.
I don't know who Jason and the Argonauts
It's an old,
are.
it's a 70s or 60s claymation movie.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's actually older than that, but yes.
Is it really?
I think so, yeah.
Or were there two of them?
I think it was like the 50s.
Wow. I haven't seen
But yeah,
that movie in forever.
but the joke is that they were that old to review that.
I got it.
Well, then
Get it?
I
Get
learned
it?
something new today. Yep, I get it now.
Yes. and
I don't get it.
And
I
if
made
you
it up.
take anything away from this, is like going to the movies. It's one and done. If the experience fails, which most of the times it does, out of bitterness and strict principle on my part, I'm not going back to the theater to try to see this. Maybe I'll see it on demand. Who knows?
You should really go see it in the theater. It's a fun theater movie.
I do, but now I'm kind of angry against it. I'm like, this happened, and I'm kind of being spiteful.
Well, you're spiting yourself to spite yourself.
Yeah, I have to say, I definitely like, because I have the AMC membership where you pay $23 a month and you can see the 3 movies a week.
That's
And
the
you
premiere,
just
yeah.
like, huh?
Oh, that's the A-list, yeah.
Yeah. That's why it's amazing. And I love too that you can pick your seat beforehand. Like Giddles, I'm the same. You pick them in the middle of my husband's also like this.
Yeah.
In the middle of the rows, like 3 or 4 from the top, right in the center. Yeah, it's perfect. and I get there early, and I like to sit in if I can, I like to do prime, because then you get those big reclining seats. Like I always check that first, because it's just the way. We're so spoiled in this day and age. I remember having to
My
like
theater
wait
doesn't
in
have
line
that.
to go see Harry Potter. What?
The theaters near me don't have the at least the ones I go to don't have the reclining seatings.
Oh,
The
they're so
seats
amazing.
And, yeah, I don't have that. But what I do is, because there's stadium seating and there's platforms, I don't go up to the top or the middle of the theater and get the middle seats. I don't do any of that stuff. I get the front row by the railing, right? I get the middle seat by the railing, so this way, if I have to go to the bathroom or anything, I just slide under the railing there and right back into my seat, and it doesn't inconvenience anybody. And I sit that front row there on the platform, not front row on the floor where you're looking up like an idiot.
No.
Yeah, you can't sit in that. It's too awful. It's bad for your neck. The movie doesn't look good. Don't sit that close.
No. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to look at other movie stuff, other TV stuff, and then we have to figure out what we're doing for the Thanksgiving break. We'll be right back.
It's Erik Nagel. More It's Erik Nagel. Next. It's Erik Nagel. Follow the show on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube, and Facebook at It's Erik Nagel. It's Erik Nagel. It's Erik Nagel. And it's back.
Welcome back to the program for segment 2. I'm Erik. That is Giddles, and that is Zia singing the twos in the background there.
Children.
We go from the horrible
At the
press
kids'
experience of movies
Yeah.
to seeing the actual box office experience of movies that happened last week. Coming in at number 1, still at number 1, Ford versus Ferrari.
Wow.
Number 2, Midway.
Is that like Man versus Machine?
Sort of, only not at all.
Oh,
So you were close.
Kind of, but no.
Right. Coming in number 2 is Midway. Number 3, Charlie's Angels. Big flop, and we'll get into that in a second. Number 4, Playing with Fire, which is the John Cena fireman movie. And number 5, Last Christmas with the Khaleesi, I guess, playing
does
Santa.
everyone die in it, and that's why it's called Last Christmas? Like it's like a Final Fantasy, and everyone just dies at the end. That would be great.
That would be a great Christmas movie.
Like every year, put out a Christmas movie, and every year you change it up so no one knows which is the Christmas movie where everyone's gonna die at the end. So it's like Russian roulette for Christmas movies, and you're like, oh, what's it gonna be? Oh, the dog died. Oh no, wah wah.
People would riot. If people die in movies, it's fine. If a dog dies in a movie, people lose their mind.
Right.
All right, we gotta start this Halloween Christmas series, Eric.
We'll work on that. But for Last Christmas, like I said with the Khaleesi, she assumes Santa's throne, and then she rules by fear by flying reindeers over towns that spit fire and take out the villagers until they fall to her will.
I imagine she would just hook it all to the fucking dragon. Just like, at that point, screw it.
Rudolph the Red-Nosed Dragon.
Yeah.
Had a very shiny...
Yeah. Very shiny bones.
And that's how it ends. Just a stream of fire, people screaming, and charred remains. Do we want to? Yeah, let's talk Charlie's Angels real quick, and then we'll do the Christmas stuff with movies and TV and what have you. So, if you saw the article that came out last Friday with the Wall Street Journal, Elizabeth Banks, actress, producer, director. You know her from a lot of acting roles, but she also created or maybe developed the Pitch Perfect franchise, which did very well. I think there's 3 movies in that franchise. So she was now looking to reboot Charlie's Angels for the modern era, and had done so. In this article, and I got to stress, this came out Friday morning before the movie was open to the public. And she was already saying or making excuses for the shortcomings of the film. Now, we've seen this in the past where people would complain about Ocean's 8, which was the all-female cast, or Ghostbusters 2016, which was the all-female cast. And when the movie wasn't living up to predictions or expectations, a lot of the excuses or reasons or whatever it was that it was the critics' fault, it was male critics' fault. It was, in the case of Ocean's 8, Mindy Kaling from The Office said it was white male critics that destroyed this movie before it even had a chance to do whatever. And you can't keep using those excuses, because women are getting a lot of chances to do a lot of things, direct movies, be leads in movies, and have a lot of their projects funded now. There's a lot of great opportunity. Do they have a way to go? I'm sure they do, but it more than in the past, there's plenty of doors open for these kind of things. Now, usually you would hear these things after a movie didn't perform as well as expected, or after a TV show debuted and nobody really watched it, and then you would hear these things that it was a stereotype in Hollywood that men won't watch women's program or support these people. That's not the case. She did this ahead of the movie coming out. So in this article, she had made statements that said, look, there's been 37 Spider-Man movies that have been out there, and that's fine, but we're trying to, break up the stereotype that from Hollywood that men do not enjoy women in lead action roles and they don't support these things. And it just really came off like she was bashing anything male and anything guy, but the movie hadn't come out yet. Like, it was opening that day. So the general public hadn't had a chance to see this, and we didn't know the box office for another 3 days.
It was probably tracking to do poorly then.
That's the thing. So they don't explain that, obviously, in that article, but other stuff, other pieces that have come out since. So she said all these things, and then she was shitting on female action-led movies like Captain Marvel and Wonder Woman. And she goes, yeah, they did good, and they made a lot of money, but they're part of an already existing male franchise, and they're used as stepping stones to lead to bigger things, where Wonder Woman led to Justice League and Captain Marvel led to Infinity War and Endgame. So yeah, they did okay, but they weren't really female-led action movie. And you're like, oh my God, you're just trying to find any reason to justify why this is not your fault. So Monday comes around, the movie only made $8 million and change.
Yeah, ouch,
that's bad.
That's bad.
The production budget, just the production budget, was $40 million. So that's $40 million for the production. Then you got to tack on for the marketing, which is usually close to equaling the production budget. So maybe $60 million, $80 million they had to clear to make the money back for marketing and for the production. $8 million in its opening weekend.
Oh, that's terrible.
She had been writing.
Is it worse than Terminator Dark Fate, though? Terminator Dark Fate only made like $20 million the opening weekend, and that cost like $180 million or something ridiculous to make, plus the marketing. Like, that movie really did bad.
I don't have the opening weekend.
Terminator movies.
I don't have the opening week. Oh yeah, here it is. Opening weekend, it made 29 million and change.
Yeah, that's terrible.
To date, it's made, with worldwide box office and everything, almost $235 million.
Yeah.
So it at least made the money back that for the marketing and all that. I don't know how much of a profit's going to see, but at least made the money back for what they were doing. Charlie's Angels.
Charlie's Angels is a movie that I don't think anybody like. I mean, the last couple I've been to theater over by me, because they're gonna get Charlie's Angels here, so like we only see the trailers for the movies that are coming to the specific theater, so it's kind of nice. You only see 2 trailers each time because there's only 2 screens. But yeah, it's a small theater. But Charlie's Angels is coming, and every single time when that trailer was over, you'd hear a collective from everyone in the crowd. Nobody wanted it. It wasn't something that, like, it came out, like, they rebooted it in the early 2000s and it did okay. Just leave it there.
Yeah, those 2 movies, by the way,
and they were good.
I compiled a list after seeing the article earlier in the week, and I did the top 20 highest grossing movies by female leads, right?
By action stars or just female leads?
Female lead, highest grossing action films with a female lead.
Gotcha. Okay.
I said that wrong. I apologize. The first 4, I was willing to give the benefit of the doubt of, like, maybe we don't include them, because the first 4, number 1 is Captain Marvel, and then 2, 3, and 4 were Force Awakens, The Last Jedi, and Rogue One, which were female-led characters. But I can see when you say, look, that's more of a male franchise with a female lead, so that's kind of tainted. Okay, fine. You look at the next ones under there, it was mostly the Hunger Games, right?
Okay.
Hunger Games, not a male franchise. It's not against male, people watching it, but it's not really a male franchise. It was based on books that were mostly, female readers and what have you. And they were all the top outside of those things on there. They were all the top. And then under that was Terminator 2 Judgment Day. Female lead, but okay, you want to say that Terminator is more of a male franchise property, fine. Still a female
Terminator
lead.
2, I would say is like fairly like female and male lead.
Maybe
like,
now, but back...
Linda Hamilton's like pretty badass.
Yeah. But
Alien?
You're also looking late 80s to early 90s. Wasn't really the movie that women were looking to go see. You know? This was more... I could see where you say that's more of a guy influence kind of audience for that.
But what she was saying though was movies with female leads that men go and see. So like Terminator 2, that was movies with a female lead that men wanted to go see. You know what I mean? And I don't know if it was because it probably wasn't because of that, but that they were still part of that draw. You know what I mean?
Right. But her statement was men do not go out and support female-led action movies.
And that's what I'm saying.
Which she got a lot of shit for over the course of that weekend. I think, like Brian had also said, and a lot of people were thinking that the test screenings and the projections were not going to be good for this movie because of the way it was done. She put that out there, and that even caused a bigger negative influence on this thing. Like anybody was kind of on the fence that weekend, like, oh, I want to go to a movie. If that's what's there, I'll go see it. After reading that, I think that turned a lot of people away because at that first weekend, like I said, it was 8 and change for the opening weekend. That was domestic. Worldwide, 12.2 million.
Oh, God.
The foreign box office went nope. And the majority of the money you make for a movie is the foreign box office. Like you make a big chunk in America.
Foreign box office make a lot of money.
Yeah. But when you have worldwide 12.2, that means the world went, nope, this is a piece of shit. Screw you. We're not going to watch this thing. So, she had said that then she was blaming, like I said, the lead characters for female movies because they're part of men's franchises, and then they're only used as stepping stones. They're not their own thing. Well, Charlie's Angels is not your own thing either. It was an existing property. If you came out with something brand new, something never been done before, or a property that was never seen before, and you went through this, you have a right to argue about these things. Like, look, we tried to put out something new. We tried to put out not a reboot. We tried to do our own thing, and it didn't work out, and I'm blaming whatever. Then you may have a better leg to stand on. But you're rebooting a franchise which, look,
has been rebooted how many times?
Say what you want. Go back to the original property in the TV show in the 70s, right? What was it? It was 3 gorgeous women who were spies. They were... they had karate skills. Whatever you want to call them. Guys were watching that show because of the pretty women, right?
Of course.
The movies in the 2000s had pretty women doing sort of those things, doing a nod but modernizing a little bit. Those 2 movies all did over $100 million.
I didn't mind those. They're not like amazing movies, but they were fun to watch.
I enjoyed them. I thought they were fun.
Yeah, people didn't have a problem with those movies, right?
Yeah, like it was good.
There was no problems with that movie. So they had been touting about this movie coming out that we're doing it for a modern era, and we had to make it more realistic. And they were constant, like Kristen Stewart was saying, she goes, it's for a woke audience. And as soon as you say that, you're going to eliminate the majority of your movie. Like, if your message is there and people recognize it and understand it, is one thing. Put your movie out, let it speak for itself. But when you're strictly advertising it, everything's so polarized and divided. Why would you do that for something that you're trying to make money for? So,
I think, like, if you drop something, like, in these day and ages, if you drop like the word woke into something like that, you're immediately going to have backlash from a certain segment of the society that is not going to like that and attack.
No, not at all.
Well, and my whole thing with that is, and the reason that I think that I would, first of all, I would never go see these movies because they look like bad movies. I didn't
look like bad movies. If it looks good, I go see it. It doesn't look
exactly. Like Ghostbusters 2016 just looked like a bad movie. Charlie's Angels, this one also just looks like a bad movie. I don't have any interest in going to see it. The Ocean's 8, no thank you.
Nope.
And I don't think it has anything to do with the fact that it's a female-led movie and people are like, "Oh man, fuck women. They're lame. I don't want to go see this movie." No, it doesn't have anything to do with that. It has to do with their completely transparent agenda behind it. Instead of,
I would say for the Ghostbusters female movie, that would be exactly what it was. All the other movies, I don't think so. But for the Ghostbusters 2016, I think it was really down the line of guys going, fuck this movie. It's not part of the Ghostbusters franchise that we know.
Yeah, I mean, that's what it was. That day, there was like people in their cars doing reviews, like dudes in their pickup trucks complaining about a Ghostbusters trailer they saw. Like, I mean, there was...
Well, but my point is, it's very transparent what they're trying to do. They're trying to take these movies and what they're pushing is their agenda of, look, girl power, girls can do what boys can do. And fuck off with that, first of all. Second of all, that instead of just focusing on making a really good movie that just happens to have a badass female lead. Like, if you take a movie that could have either in it, instead of pushing the agenda and jabbing it down everyone's throat and being like, hey, look, strong female lead. Look, women are funny. Women are badass. Women can. How about you just focus on making an awesome movie? And and I think what would make a truly good movie where someone would enjoy going to watch it is if it doesn't matter whether the lead is a male or a female. It's just a really fucking good movie and the lead happens to be a female. And I think that's why Terminator 2 is so good, because Linda Hamilton is badass.
Right.
And they're not being like, hey, look at this. It's like, no, you just made a really good movie with a badass character, and look, here, we made it, it's out there. But no, they have to keep pushing it down everyone's throat. And I'm a woman and I want women to like be badass. That's great. Like, I think that that's a good thing that women are in MMA now.
You just don't want to be pandering.
But I think...
Yeah, stop pandering to everybody.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I think what it's coming down to is more of marketing than it is the actual movies. You know what I mean? It's not that like they're making these movies for this. They're advertising these movies this way to try and sell their movies, because they're not putting out original things. Well, all they're trying to do, all these studios are doing is saying... we need, like, they might be saying this, I can't speak for them, but they might be saying, you know, we need something that's going to, like, be, you know, badass, have some young, cute women being badass in it, but we also want something that's not going to be brand new and a property that we've had before. Like, I don't think they were willing to go out on a limb with something new, and that's why they had to use Charlie's Angels again, because they can't come up with something. Like, why not just make Quentin Tarantino's Fox Force 5 that he talks about in Kill Bill? You know what I mean? Like,
right.
Make that show. That's what people would want to see. Like,
that's another
or like Dollhouse, when that was out, that was a good show, and that was like an interesting like type thing. But like, I don't know, I don't get it. I just think that and also like, you're not really gender bending or flipping anything for a movie for Charlie's Angels, because that was the premise. Like, you just did the same movie. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. There's nothing like super empowering, I guess, about women playing the same roles that they've always been cast as in this particular series of movies.
Don't even get me started on gender bending.
So
but that's a good point too. Movie too is Kill Bill. Just
Kill
a
Bill's
great movie.
Right.
Fucking great movie. Nobody complained about that. Nobody was like, oh, a female lead. No, because he just made a good movie and it was a female lead.
Right.
Yeah, and not only that, people were like happy with it. They were like, this is an awesome. Like, everyone looked at all these characters as badass. Like, no one was talking about it like this. They were like, oh shit, these are just fucking killer ninja women. But you know, but that like comes from a lot of like those grindhousey type films and stuff like that, where like, yeah, you get a lot of badass women in those movies. They're just like slicing people with swords and killing people, and it's that's part of the movie.
I don't know.
Like I said, I don't know if there was any particular agenda behind it. There was clearly agenda behind the comments that she made about why the movie wasn't performing, and I think there's a lot of fustification or whatever you would say about why the movie didn't do good. But I'm going to say it was a bad movie, and blaming it on people not seeing it because of, like, you know, their gender possibly, or for any other reason like that, is probably just a bad excuse.
No, she didn't make the excuses for why people weren't seeing it. She made the preemptive excuses, saying
that's what I'm saying,
that guys will not support female-led action movies.
That's bullshit.
Yeah, it's it was, but the key part is it was preemptive. It was before.
Yeah.
I've never seen it before the movie came out that they were saying these things. After it, I've seen it. Sometimes they're legitimate, concerns. Other times it's just, excuses because your product sucked or whatever. You don't want to take the responsibility for. I've never seen it before the movie came out, and that's what happened here, right? So. In the description also, when they kept saying it's like, oh, this is going to be woke, and Kristen Stewart kept saying this is going to be a woke version of that. It's going to be. She had stated, Elizabeth Banks had stated that She was revamping this property, giving the angels a millennial makeover, making their clothes more practical and the women more relatable in today's times, right? Sure, the new angels rock sequin rompers and glamorous dresses when they're undercover at parties, but when it comes time to fight, there's no need for low-cut bodysuits and heels. The trio changed into athletic outfits with elbow pads and sneakers. Look, whether you want to acknowledge it or not, Charlie's Angels was a product of the 70s, and it was strong female leads in a time that they weren't doing that a whole lot, but there was sex appeal to keep the guys in there. Now, whether that's right or wrong is up to you in today's age, but that's why it worked. And even in the movies in the 2000s, there was still some of that sex appeal to it while they were modernizing it for the times in the 2000s. Here, they did a drastic overhaul and said, we're not doing these things. We're not going to be... So you're taking away the essence of what made this property successful to begin with. You're not being a slave to old, stereotypes or visions of what they were doing, but make it work. If you're going to modernize it, make it work for the time, but you got to have a little, all of a sudden sex appeal or sexiness in a movie or a product or a TV or ad or any of that stuff is now being viewed as you can't be anything like that. We're regressing in some weird way.
I don't think that's true though. I think this is just poor marketing for a bad movie. And I think that's what it is. I think all the comments that they've made about this is them really just trying anything they can to get people in the seats. That's why they're throwing out those words. They're throwing out we're marketing this for millennials and woke. They're trying to get people in those seats who have no interest in seeing this movie. That's what they're trying to do. And I don't know. I think it's just a bad movie. I haven't seen it. I can't judge.
The Rotten Tomatoes scores for it.
I mean, I think this is how you have to. This is what happens though. When you have a project that's been rebooted so many times, how do you reinvent this again? How do you reinvent it that's different than the Drew Barrymore version from 15 years ago, which was great?
I liked it.
Why not have them? Why not have them in this training the new angels? Why not have that tie into the old movie? Why start over? You know what I mean? I don't get it.
Yeah, I agree.
They could have had them in it. They could have had them training the new angels. They might be, and I don't know. I haven't seen it, so I can't really judge. But if they didn't, I think that's a mistake.
That's a good point.
But I don't know. I
agree. I think that we're regressing. I do. We're regressing in a weird way with sexuality. It's very strange. Now it's if you're seen as sexual in any way, people are like, "Whoa, no!" It's why?
Okay,
I just think it depends how people are seeing you sexually. I think that's what it comes down to. I think people want them to see them as sexually attractive. They just don't want to be completely creeped out and think that they're going to get raped and murdered.
Well, nobody wants that.
You know what I mean? I think
this piece of an article from USA Today kind of sums it up. We were talking about how the different stages of the projects from the 70s to the 2000s to now. It said in the 70s, Farrah Fawcett, Kate Jackson, and Jacqueline Smith knew they were both women on a mission and viewer eye candy. In the early aughts, for the reboots, Cameron Diaz and the gang cheekily played up both their adorability but grit, also showing grit. This time around, though, the stars seem to be portraying that they're more women that you may know in everyday life, complete with struggles, quirks, and flaws. They also speak overly millennial, with Stewart's characters constantly making jokes about swiping right and being extra. So they were going for a millennial audience. The millennial audience obviously didn't watch this thing. Saying about guys not supporting this is another thing. But the other thing that we didn't touch on is, where were the women? Women didn't come out to see this either. So you can't just blame it all on the guys. The women didn't come out to see this. If this made
no one came out to see it. No one came out to see it.
If they had projections say wow, this is going to make $100 million opening weekend, and then they fell short and they only made 60, right? They could say, well, the guys didn't come out and support this thing and what have you. There's statistics and money that could show that might be true. $8 million. The women didn't even come out for this. The millennials that you were catering to didn't come out to see this.
Also,
so how is that anybody's fault? It's your own fault for making a product that nobody cared about.
But here's the thing. When they say millennials, who are they marketing to? Because millennials are like 33 years old. And I feel like they're going younger than that. And they're just using the word millennials. Like people have called me a millennial. I'm born in 1981. I don't think I'm a millennial.
I think technically you're on the end, but it actually you're not. Like whatever they make up the years for, because it always changes every time you look up the time spectrums.
But what I'm saying is if they're making a movie that's marketed towards the millennial crowd and they think that these keywords are going to they're using the wrong words. Like they have to be shooting for like the 18 crowd, like the 17
that's what I think. I think they're shooting for the people in their 20s. Yeah. And
they fucked up their audience. Like this should have been like a younger movie, maybe like PG-13 and like a little like goofy and like over the top type thing if that's what they were going for.
Also
go ahead.
I was going to say women also dictate the market a lot more than people realize. They're like, oh, men aren't going to see this movie. How many romantic comedies have men been dragged to because their girlfriend said they want to go see it? If girls wanted to go see this movie, they would bring guys and guys
this was
would
a
be going
big
to see
date
it, whether
night
they
movie?
wanted to or not.
Yeah, exactly. I've seen many a movie I have not wanted to see because I was dragged to it.
Exactly.
I just thought of this too. It didn't dawn on me earlier, but it kind of did now. So when they're doing stuff like this and they're saying we're breaking the way it's been classically viewed of how women are in these projects or being viewed in media, and we're not going to do that. Women are going to be strong and they're going to be powerful and they're going to be whatever. It seems like they're doing the same thing too. We're like, we're not going to let men dictate the stereotype of what it was in the past of how women were viewed. We're going to dictate how women should be viewed now, and we're going to try to program everybody to view it this way. Like that way's not good either, because you want to support women and have strong, powerful women and lead roles in these things. That's fine. But even Zia said earlier with when it came to the feminism stuff, if a woman wants to be sexy and she wants a guy to treat her that way, that's her right to want to live that way. You can't have other women telling you can't do that because that doesn't work for the rest of us. I'm not with the rest of you. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
And if you want to be one of those women, like, I don't like to be objectified or I get that, but you don't want to dress sexy, you don't want to do all those things, and you want to live a different life, you can do that too. But then you can't dictate to the women who do that, like if they're models, if they're makeup people, if they're celebrities, they're whatever they're doing, or if they're just regular everyday people that's like, look, I look good, I'm happy with how I look, and that they want to flaunt that a little bit. That's not bad either. So it's like, it can't be this way the men were thinking, okay, but it can't be this way that you're trying to program everybody that women are this way now. It's in the middle. Everyone's got to choose for themselves what they're doing on this stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And if you want to represent, and you should represent all those different facets.
You should represent for the gangsters all across the world.
But I always thought
hit that corner with the Lolos, girl.
But I always thought that was the point of Charlie's Angel, was that like each one kind of represented like a different person, different kind of person. It's like how in the Spice Girls, there's 5 different Spice Girls. They're not all the same Spice Girl. They all have their own personality, their own antics, their own like background, their own like shtick. You know what I mean? Like it's not they're not all carbon copies. And
some are more sporty, and some are more sexy, and some are more goofy, and some are more
baby.
I mean?
And I understand like the push to be like, yeah, this is how we want like people to be observed in movies. I can get that because they were being like, before that they were being told like, no, this is what you do. You're just going to be arm candy in this movie. And I can understand being like, yeah, I want more of like a forward role and stuff like that. But I just think they need to do it right. Like they have to make a good movie that makes people want to see it. Because I've seen like so many not action movies this year, but just like, you know, movies with just like amazing performances by the leads, that like these lead women that are just like out of this world. And you know, and those movies they're getting there. Like when people like the lead in Knives Out is amazing. I've never seen the girl before, and she is fucking phenomenal. So you know, Florence Pugh in Midsommar, amazing.
Oh. Yeah, no, I agree. I think that there is a lot of that. And also they're forcing this thing of like, oh, well, women love action movies. Some do, but
some don't.
A lot don't. Like, that's the other thing too. They're trying to act like men and women are the exact same and they don't have different interests.
Well, everything's fluid. That's the problem. Yeah, everything's fluid.
Yeah,
you can't assume roles. Like, guys don't just like this and girls don't like that. Everybody can be whatever they want. Okay.
Well, and that's true to an extent.
Right. Exactly. But when it comes to this thing, no, guys don't like this because women like it. Nobody said that. Look, it's proven. Guys, some guys do like rom-coms. They'll watch rom-coms on TV. They'll go whatever. Some do.
But
the majority of them don't watch it. They only go because their girlfriend, like you said, or wife takes them. They want to go to that movie. They want to see that movie. It's a compromise thing, and that's what happens. But those movies are not normally for a male audience, just like there are things out there that are not normally for a female audience.
Exactly, but they're trying to force it and make it that it is. Like, you don't see anyone going, oh, rom-coms, we need to make these more for men. How do we make men? No, they're just making the rom-coms for women, and women go watch them.
So you're going to try to, like, publicly shame men for not coming to the movies. Like, it's because of you this didn't happen. This is your fault, and it's like nobody's going to rile to that cause, especially who's not going to support your cause? Men.
Yeah.
It's like you're gonna blame me for your movie sucking? Guess what? I'm not gonna go see any of the other things your name's attached to now. And by the way,
honestly, I don't give a shit about any of this.
I don't either. I just think it's
at
fun.
the end of the day, like, I really don't care. Like, they want to complain that's why people didn't see it. Like, complain, but like, I'm not gonna hold a grudge against anyone. If that's what they want to say, that's what they want to say, man. Like,
so the rest of that list that I had mentioned earlier, there was a lot of very strong female lead in action movies that made a ton of money. Like the 20th movie on the list was Charlie's Angels Full Throttle, which was the second movie in the 2000s, made $100 million, and that was domestically, right?
Yeah.
Nice.
Really good showing for that. Now, when she's saying that's not fair, men are not supporting these things, there's another list called the Top 10 Female-Directed Movies, and these are domestic box offices. Elizabeth Banks is on the list with Pitch Perfect 2. She's had success.
Pitch Perfect made a lot of money.
Yeah, that whole franchise did. But when she's saying that guys don't support these movies, she was talking about action movies. But the bigger scope of there has been said in the past that guys aren't supporting these movies that are just female-led anything or for females. Guys are not supporting it. She had one of the top 10 female-directed movies domestically. So she's been on that ladder where things were working for her. And because this one didn't, now it's everybody else's fault.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. Look, everybody, every great producer, filmmaker, writer, everything has hits and misses. She should have just chalked it up as a miss. It's like, look, I thought it was going to be this, whatever. That preemptive thing really is looking bad. It looks worse, I think, than the people that make the excuses when something fails and then they try to blame everybody else. But you're doing it ahead of time, and then all weekend she was getting negative press about this. So you kind of shot yourself in the foot before seeing how this thing was going to unfold.
I will say this.
Yeah.
Up until today, I didn't even know that the Charlie's Angels movie came out, and I didn't know about any of this interview. So thank you, Eric.
You're very welcome.
Once again, bringing something into my life that I would have never known about. That's a minor inconvenience for Eric.
And when we're done with this show, Brian's going to put his headphones down and go, my brain hurts.
Because honestly, I didn't even know the movie came out yet. I thought it was coming out around Christmas time. So, like, I really didn't know. And then when you started saying all this, I was like, oh, I guess it came out, and I guess it did as well as I thought it was going to do.
Yeah.
Well,
but I don't
that's
know,
it for Charlie's Angels. But one thing
for Charlie's Angels.
What we didn't do after the box office is the movies that are coming out this weekend and next weekend.
I mean, Magic Mike made a lot of money.
For this weekend, if you're going to go to the movies and looking for
That's
something,
true.
you're obviously not going to go see Charlie's Angels. So let's give you some alternatives of what you can go and watch. For this weekend, we have 21 Bridges, which stars Black Panther as a New York detective.
Chadwick Boseman.
That movie comes out. Frozen 2 comes out.
Electric Boogaloo. And A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, the Tom Hanks, Mr. Rogers movie. Oh, is that the one where he dies at the end?
I think this is the one where we can't say that in today's day and age.
Exactly.
All right, never mind.
Spoilers.
Forget about that. I was going to say about, toting a gun, and can't go do that anymore. Let's see. Next weekend, like we said, Knives Out on Wednesday for Thanksgiving. And then that Friday, nothing really of interest. And then we start going into the Christmas season. So we'll get into Christmas movies coming in December and some Christmas projects. I sent some trailers over to you guys. We were not going to talk about that today, obviously. But Zia, if you get a chance to watch those things that I sent you, they're so ridiculous that we're going to have to discuss them.
Yeah, I saw The Night Before Christmas, that trailer already, and how are people still watching these? I just don't.
I'll give them credit.
You have to wait. Did you spell it?
Yeah, KNIGHT.
Yes,
The Night.
Night Before Christmas.
Right.
Yeah.
Which normally, as a person who likes puns and stupid jokes, would say, ha ha ha, that's very funny. It's terrible.
It's not yet. It's not good.
It's
It's not
awful.
good.
No, not at all. Finishing up with movie news, Wes Craven's estate. Did Wes Craven die? I didn't realize he died.
It's
Did he?
a state?
Yeah, because the article said Wes Craven's estate is now actively taking pitches for a new Nightmare on Elm Street. Then it was also noted that Elijah Wood and partner Daniel Noah's Spectre Vision might be interested in sending along. They have some pitches. Apparently, they've long fantasized about having a crack at the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. Stranger things have happened. You know, Danny McBride took over Halloween, so Elijah Wood, who's all of a sudden like the kid from Radio Flyer, is going to be taking over.
You
a
mean
Nightmare on Elm
Frodo?
Street.
Radio Flyer, not Frodo Baggins.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you mean Frodo Baggins? Come on.
That was the point. I didn't get
Biggest
Craven
role he's
died in
ever had.
Radio Flyer was an amazing movie.
Oh my god! Why didn't I say what was the other one? North? Was that the one he was in?
Nothing is as good as The Lord of the Rings.
That movie North with Elijah Wood, and he was like the kid, and he was like,
You guys are
And
thinking
like
too big
furniture
picture.
store.
You got it. Like Steve Martin said, you got to get small.
Wasn't he also in like Flipper or something?
Yes,
Flash?
he was. Probably
Flipper?
was. With Paul Hogan,
Something like
right?
that. I don't know.
Yeah, I think
remember
there was
when
a-
I was like a kid.
So they're looking at revamping Nightmare on Elm Street. I like the other one with Jackie Earl Haley. I didn't think it was that bad, but it didn't go anywhere past that point. So there's that. And then also RoboCop apparently is going to be rebooted.
Oh boy.
another RoboCop reboot. You said?
I don't know how I feel about that one.
No,
Maybe.
the last one was terrible.
I
So this
didn't-
it says
I-
here
it was
after
okay.
MGM's RoboCop returns. Lost the director they had in place earlier. The attempt to reboot the sci-fi action franchise is back up and running as Little Monsters director Abe Forsyth has signed on to helm the project, according to The Hollywood Reporter.
Also, it turns out Wes Craven died in 2015.
Okay, I was not aware.
Interesting.
I mean, I assumed he had died when it said his estate was negotiating the rights to redo this. I'm like, so he had to have died. I just didn't remember that
Or
he
his
died.
estate is sentient
remember
and
it
it actually
either.
negotiates.
That is possible. So that's pretty much it for movies. As far as TV goes, Disney Plus is up and running. Mandalorian is what everybody's talking about. You got to watch the Jeff Goldblum show if you haven't already. The first 2 episodes were out. The new one comes out Friday, I think, with the third Mandalorian. The Jeff
Yes.
Goldblum show is a real treat to watch, is what I'll say about that. It's a lot
I
of
watched
fun.
the first one and like it was pretty funny.
He's just being very Jeff Goldblum-y.
He's a very Jeff. He's just a national treasure, is really what it is. Have you guys seen the Facebook page? It's called The Same Picture of Jeff Goldblum Every Day, and they literally post
Yes.
the same picture of Jeff Goldblum every day. It's amazing.
We'll have to go and hit like on that as well.
Yeah, go like it.
So yeah, Disney Plus has a whole bunch of stuff out there for you. Netflix has there's a new season 3 of The Toys That Made Us.
Yes.
Has 4 episodes. One is Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. One is the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. One is the history of My Little Pony. And the 4th one is the history of wrestling figures.
Do they get into the modern phase of My Little Pony?
Oh yeah, they get into everything up to current
Really?
date. Yeah, from where it
Nice.
started in the 80s to where it is now. It's
Interesting.
pretty fascinating. The one thing they can't explain is the Brony movement when the
That's what I
new
was gonna
animated
say.
series, because they said they couldn't figure out why this was happening. They just accepted it and went with it. So
Yeah,
really,
you
they
do.
had no
If you're making
explanation.
money, you just go.
Yeah, it was fun because I'm waiting to see if like maybe there's something I didn't see, or maybe there's some behind the scenes thing that like this is why it may have picked up. They just go. Then we started seeing guys in their 20s, and then it cuts in and goes, we have no idea why they were watching this. And then it just kept going with the documentary, and all of a sudden they're making all this money, and the animated series, and all this stuff is going on, and dudes are watching it. I don't get it either. Also, Wednesday on Netflix, The Irishman is going to be available. The Martin Scorsese
cool.
gangster movie with Joe Pesci, with Robert De Niro, with...
A friend
Jim
of mine
Norton.
saw it.
Don't forget Jim Norton is in it.
Yes, he has a small part in there where he plays
Don Rickles.
Don Rickles, right. And
My friends saw it, and they said
else?
that while it's good,
yeah,
they use like this facial aging technology to make the actors
they
look
do.
younger.
Yep.
And he said the problem is with that is that you have Robert De Niro looking like he's like 35 years old or something like that. But then in scenes where he's like supposed to be beating people up, he's fighting like a 70-year-old man. So it's just like it doesn't work. because he's physically older but looking younger.
Oh, that's funny.
But I'm gonna see it probably once it comes to Netflix. I'm not paying to see that shit.
Yeah, no, I'll watch that.
They put it out in the theater just so that it would qualify for the Academy rules, so that it would be up for an Oscar if they wanted to do it. They did the aging thing on Al Pacino as well. There was a photo about 2 years ago when they were shooting this. Some candid photographer got a photo of De Niro and Pacino talking together. So you see them like at shoulder length, like they're at head length. They're right there at around the same height. And Al Pacino is a short dude. Then they released the full photo, and he's wearing like Frankenstein lifts. So his shoes have this like foot block under his shoes, and that's how he was walking around, so he could be at eye length with Robert De Niro.
How do you walk around in those?
I don't know. You probably don't. Yeah. You're probably just standing there most of the time and gesturing. But if you can find that photo, look at I guess Al Pacino's shoes, The Irishman. I guess that'll lead you to it, or you can do a dive to find it. But if you see that photo, it's really funny because it looks like stuff Frankenstein would wear in the old Universal monster movies. Quite hilarious. Also, Giddles, since you like the Toys That Make Us franchise like I do, they're doing a spin-off called The Movies That Made Us.
Oh, that sounds cool.
Yeah, and I remember seeing that it's coming. I didn't see the date. Oh, let's see. The date for that.
Gabbo is coming.
Look, Smithers, Garbo is coming. It doesn't say a date. I just saw that. Yes, season 1. Oh, next week it starts.
Oh,
look at that. Coming November 29th.
I'm so excited.
Actors Daniel Stern and Dan Aykroyd and the directors Ivan Reitman and Chris Columbus, among others, look back at the hits. That could be interesting.
Yeah, I can check that out if it's good.
Yeah. Other than that, you're going into the holidays, people. Not a lot of TV stuff is happening right now. Unless it's streaming stuff, they've already put out their shit for Thanksgiving, and then you got to wait about a week after Thanksgiving for stuff coming in for the holidays and going into the new year. So there's a lot of stuff to watch, movies, TV, whatever. You can never say that you're bored. If you do, you're an outright liar. And with that being said, let's do the plugs. Giddles, what do you have?
I won the chili takedown.
We talked about
Base
that
on the Twitter, Instagram, and Xbox Live.
Hey.
And that's
Congrats.
it. I'm not taking any more takedowns for the rest of the year. I'm gonna take the rest of the year off.
Giddles has
Give
been
yourself a
taken
break.
down. The chili has done it.
Yeah, I destroyed it. I felt bad.
Taking down everybody.
It wasn't close. It was.
Why would you feel bad? You're killing it, man.
Because he's been winning all of them. I went to the last one.
Every single one I entered this year.
I went to the last one.
I'm a villain.
The last one I went to was the chowder one. And I remember some of the guys there. It's like, yeah, man, great stuff. Getting tired of losing to you. They're very cordial about it.
Yeah, my friend got some videos of it, of him being like, and look who ran away with it again this year. Giddles.
That's awesome. Giddles, I gotta try your food. I gotta come out there and
come on out.
Oh,
I have all these prizes here. I have a $700 oven. I got 2 cast iron frying pans. I got another Dutch oven. What you got? It's Bed Bath Beyond and Brian here.
Brian's looking to get rid of some of those things. So if you're looking for these things and you want to make Brian an offer, reach out to him on Giddlebase on the Twitter and Instagram.
Yeah, I got really nice frying pans. Hit me up.
There you go. Zia, what do you have instead of a purple hair mustache?
I like my purple hair mustache. I make it sometimes and my hair smells good. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Zia_land. That's also where I'm going to announce I'm going to start my Twitch test stream this week. And if all goes well, by next week, I should be streaming. I pretty much have decided on my streaming days are going to be Sundays and Tuesdays right now. Because I've got like a million jobs. That's going to have to kind of be my 2 streaming days of the week. But I will announce more details when it actually happens and everything on Instagram and probably Twitter, mostly Instagram though. So follow me there. And same with the YouTube channel. I should have some content coming out for that soon. I am very excited.
Wait, what are you going to stream on Twitch? Video games?
Video games.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm going to play. Do you stream your video games when you play or do you just play for fun?
I play for fun, but I could stream if I want.
I'm about to start streaming my video games.
I'm about to use the bathroom. I'll be streaming.
Yeah, you can hear me yell as I play Luigi's Mansion 3.
Yeah, it's fun. I think that mine is going to be very, a lot of, like, if you're going to follow me to see someone who's amazing games much. That's not what you should be there for, because I'm not great at it. I love playing, but I'm not like, oh my god, this is fucking fantastic. It's not going to be that. But it's going to be a fun time.
You should call it Zia's epic fail. Epic game fail.
Yeah, right there. Zia's salt.
There you go. For me, it's E-Rock Radio across the board, but more importantly, the show. It's Erik Nagel across the board on the social media platforms. Like us on Facebook. Subscribe to our YouTube page. And if you want to leave voicemails to be used on future shows, call 651-SMITHERS. That's 651-764-8437. Also, a side plug for this other show that I do with Brian Johnson called Would You Kindly? It's available on the Compound Media Network. We have a good time there, and it's just two guys kvetching, shaking fists at clouds and yelling at kids to get off our lawn. So if that sounds fun, right, go over there and check out that fine program. With that being said, let us get out of here. So until the next time, everybody,
be excellent to each other.
And have a wonderful time.
And we'll be seeing you. Ooh, maybe not next week. We don't know yet.
It's Erik Nagel.
Let's take our heels together. Oh, yeah. And pray we live forever. Oh, yeah. We just learned our lesson and we want to go home. Our home. Way home. Just say home. We really, really want to go home. Oh, the rainbow. I want to go home. I want to go home.
Alas, we're out of time.
Follow It's Erik Nagel on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. For ways to listen to the show, go to itseriknagel.com. And remember to tell two friends so they can tell two friends.
And they can tell two friends. And they can tell two friends. And those two friends can tell two friends.